All right. Welcome back to the Dunes of Fate. This is episode 3, Sunlight, Endless Sunlight. We are joined by Waz playing Inafil Digglewig, Inafi Digglewiggle.
Anafi.
Inafi Digglewiggle. John playing Endel, and we have Craig playing Rise Adar. Thank you all players for being here. Unfortunately, we are 2 players down. Malik and Avery were unable to join us tonight. But we are continuing onward with the adventure. And where we left off last time, the group had uncovered some kind of strange things going on with this caravan. This caravan leader seems to be kind of a weird guy. He's got these kids and these elderly folk working for him. He relaxes in his tent. There's a salamander, kind of like bodyguard slash servant working for him. And where we left off is basically they were making camp for the evening, and nightfall is approaching within the hour. And we're going to pick up right there where we left off. I would like to remind the players that if you will unmute the tracks tab at the top left-hand side of your Owlbear Rodeo, you can hear the music we have queued up for this evening's session. And with that being said, we are going to begin episode 3 of our adventure. Will the player characters find out what is going on with Esteban and the caravan? Will they find that there is malicious intent here? Or is he actually the kind of good meaning guy that he seems to present himself as? Mm-hmm. This is yet to be determined. Let's leave it to the players to find out. Now, as soon as you begin, actually, something very interesting is going to happen. You see 2 sets of light. I mean, this happens very quickly. This bright light appears in the sky. White light comes down, and you see these. And I have a few. Actually, let me put some things. Yeah, here we go. You see kind of a bright light surround Avery's character, and then in the bushes over here, Malik's character. Rise Adar, you are very close. This light shines down like it's these beams of light come down from the sky, and they hit with a blast, enough so that some sand is kicked up. And John Endel experiences the same thing. He's right there, and the light comes down. He's almost like it's a little bit blinding. And you see these rainbow colors, and then you hear these magical zaps, and these 2 characters are taken up in some kind of like beam of light. It's almost like they shoot toward the sky, transformed into pure light, and they disappear. Now, when this happens,
is it the same as when we first arrived?
So,
or when Anafi arrived?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So I can't remember exactly. Did Inafi see people arrive after he did?
No, he was just.
No, then well, he doesn't really have a frame of reference because he might
other than the light that he was in to begin with.
Yes, yeah. With that being said, from that limited kind of like viewpoint, it does seem to be a similar phenomenon. And it leaves these impressions in the sand, these little hieroglyphic symbols that very closely resemble the symbol that you all saw when you were zapped into the desert, but smaller versions. Now, when this happens, Oka looks around, and he looks over at you, Endel, very stunned. And then this girl, which I have to remind myself what her name is. Sumi, her eyes suddenly go wide, and you realize she's the only one from the caravan who noticed this. Stan and the salamander were back behind the caravan tents when this happened. So Sumi is wide-eyed, and she looks over. Actually, she looks at Inafi, and then she looks at Endel. What are you guys going to do?
I would check the and just double check that look. To be the
Oh, I'm sorry, I can't quite hear you. You're cutting out.
Is it the same sort of glyph? Is it the same hieroglyphics as before that
That's
we would have seen?
roll an Arcana check. Actually, either Arcana or religion, whichever's higher for Endel.
If it's Arcana, right, either one. Nafi will come over and say, "What are you doing there, Endel? What are you trying to work out? Is it something I can give you a hand with?"
Are you going to give the help action?
Yes.
You get to roll with advantage.
Okay. Well, I'm trying to see if these are the same glyphs as when we were brought here.
Ooh.
Same number twice. Oh no!
And he flicks through his book.
That's a total of 8.
So as you look at these glyphs, they look vaguely familiar to you, but there doesn't seem to be a pattern. But they do look similar in style.
And then I'm gonna look over at Dr. Estebul and the hourglass thingy, and see if he looks the same. If she seemed to notice anything that's going on.
Oh, she definitely notices. One moment. Let me consult my notes real quick. So right now, she is, and correct me if I'm wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure I'm remembering this correctly. She is actually sitting down in the sand because her leg is still broken.
Mm-hmm.
She got healed. So like any compound nature of the fracture was kind of healed, but the bone has not been mended. So she's just sitting in the sand, and her eyes are like wide. And I'm gonna make a roll for her, check for her real quick, because there might be something about this that she can help. Man. She is gonna say, "What the heck was that? Did they just go back?" And she's kind of a loss for words.
I'm gonna ask her and motion at the hourglass and say, "Is it the same? Has anything happened?"
No, nothing's happened. At this point, she's put it in her backpack, and she's like,
"Okay,
no, nothing's happened. It's still here." She like reaches back and feels for it. No, everything is the same. No, I didn't feel a tremor. I didn't feel a pulse or anything.
Well, I guess someone must have zapped them away then. These hieroglyphs look very similar to most teleportation circles. I don't know who put them here.
Oka is gonna kind of step forward and look at the symbols. Perhaps they have gone home. But if they have gone home, how can we go home?
Well, we can try and replicate the light. We could try and make our own teleport back to Greyhawk. Between all of us, we should be able to have enough knowledge and power to make that happen.
Now, at this point, I want Inafi and Endel to both roll me an insight check real quick. Rise, you're a little too far away for this.
Yep.
It's just a flat 11 for Inafi.
4.
So, Inafi, you see Sumi looking like you see her looking very like she looks a little. It would actually be fear, is what you see, and then she grabs Inafi by the by the robe, and then she kind of walks this way, and she would drag you along with her if you would allow her to. Not like literally drag you, but she kind of pulls you over there.
He's not very strong, so he's just going to be dragged along anyway.
Okay, gotcha. Do you guys have control of your characters, or do you not have control? Okay,
Oh,
okay, gotcha.
yeah.
Very good. Okay, just let me know if you don't, and I'll give you control of them. She would pull you over there and look you in the eye and be like, "What are you doing? What are you actually doing here? You're not who you say."
I don't know. I'm lost. Like, literally, I'm lost.
No. That's the story.
I was making the expedition. I left after them because I had to do some work for the library first, and then I went to the allotted point where I was supposed to wait for the teleportation circle, and this one brought me here.
No.
I don't know why.
She's like, "Listen, what you're telling me right now, I know that it's a cover, it's a front. What are you actually doing here?"
I don't understand the question.
I just saw two people teleport away. You are not just here by accident.
No.
You know how powerful.
I don't know who's put us there, though.
The magic.
Someone else is controlling the magic, not me.
She's like, "You're lying to me. Why are you lying to me? I'm not your enemy."
I don't know how else to
getting
stop
emotional.
it.
Like her eyes start to well up with tears. She's getting actually very emotional. And Endel and Rice, you both are hearing this now. It's escalating. She's starting to raise her voice. She's like, "Why are you lying to me? I'm not your enemy. If anything, I would help you. I just want to know what's going on."
If I knew what was going on, if I knew who was controlling these teleportation lights, these circles, I would tell you. I just don't know.
Roll a persuasion check.
12.
Let's see. Okay. She's gonna double down, and you see this. Her look turns from being one of kind of sadness and kind of like confusion and panic to being more one of anger. And she's actually going to lean forward and get very aggressive and grab Anafi by the robe. And she's going to like point at him.
Ron runs out of his robe and bites Sumi on the fingers.
He bites her, like literally bites her with her. Roll an attack roll.
So this little brown and red weasel sticks its head out of his robes. And bites her fingers.
No, me too.
No, Ron Weasley. Ron Weasel.
So she would grab your ropes, and then she would like go to point, and then suddenly there's like a little jumps out and it bites her on the finger, and then she like, ow! She like pulls her hand away, and then she kind of takes a step back.
Endel's gonna come over and kind of say, "Look, the way that you saw those two leave is similar to how we came here, and we don't know how or why."
She looks up at you and she holds her hand. You see a tiny little drip of blood, not very much, just like a little drip of blood. And then she's like, "With magic, you mean?"
Well, it was definitely a magical effect, but we're not sure what prompted it. None of us cast a spell. Some of us don't even know how.
Roll a persuasion check real quick. She seems to be very skeptical.
There we go. Natural 20.
Oh, nat 20. Okay. She's going to kind of look at you. She's going to step over towards you, and she's going to like look you very closely in the eyes, almost as if she doesn't, almost as if she's having trouble believing you, and she's trying to confirm if she actually believes you. And then just to remember, since it's been like 3 months since we played, I'm going to put a portrait of Sumi up on the screen. So she's like, this is what she looks like. She's going to look you very closely in the eyes, and she's going to say, "You're telling me the truth, aren't you?"
Yes, I would swear by the lives of my children.
She's going to kind of look down. And then she takes a step back, and you see this look on her face that maybe is a look of like kind of like confusion mixed with disappointment. And then she just turns around and walks away. You see her walk right past the professor. She just walks away. And then you just see her begin telling her children, like, come on, children, let's go. Let's get this camp finished up. Benji and Carlo were her children's names, and they're getting the camp picked up. And actually, I don't actually have tokens for them actually right now, so I'm going to put up a little swords for Benji. I'm going to put up little wings for Carlo. Shabayam. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
But the swords are Benji's little boy, about 8 years old, and then Carlo, the girl, she's about 10 years old. Anyway, so they're just kind of working on stuff, setting up camp, preparing for nightfall.
And you had said she seemed to be the only one of that whole caravan that noticed.
Yes. The other caravan, the rest of the caravan is kind of more, it would be more over in the, so if up is north, which you're assuming it is, I would assume you'd assume it is, then to the west, a lot of the rest of the caravan is kind of parking over toward the west. So you guys are kind of on the very eastern end, and the people who are nearest to you are Esteban and the Salamander, but they are on the other side of the tents, and you hear them like pouring wine and laughing and stuff like that. And they seem kind of oblivious to what was going on. So her and the kids are the only ones here on the west side of the camp. Now you see that there are other elderly folk and mostly humans working on camp stuff, but it's kind of more toward the west, like where the caravan is parking over toward the west part.
I'm going to walk over next to her and try to see if I can help out with whatever it is she's doing, and just kind of like very quietly kind of say, what you just saw, have you ever seen that before?
She's going to kind of look up at you, and she's going to say, no, I have never seen anything like that before. And you telling me that you do not know what it is, it frightens me. And she kind of looks at you with an almost angry look. So why do you come here and you say that that brought you? You do not know what it is. How do I know that it's not something dangerous, something evil?
Well, it probably is. We were investigating an ancient temple.
She says, I don't know anything about a temple. I'm just trying to work, make a living, survive with my children. But then you have magic happening, and then you claim to deny that you know anything about it, and I don't understand any of this. That I feel like you should understand it, but for some reason I believe you, and honestly, that makes me angry. And then she turns around and she like turns her back to you and keeps working.
Would Anafi be able to roll, or just would he get the sense that she actually distrusts magic, or is it?
That's actually a really good
something else?
question. You should roll a perception check on that.
Perception. I don't like all these non-bonuses on my rolls. A total of 9. Having all these plus zeros.
Inafi can't really discern whether this is about magic or like about something else. it could be as much about magic as anything else. I guess the answer is just that Inafi is at a loss for why she is acting in such a seemingly personally offended. Is not quite right, but it's kind of close to that almost. Like there's something personal going on. Now, with that being said, I'd like all three of you to roll me a perception check real quick. Are you still with us, Rice? You've been frozen for a minute.
Have I?
Yeah, your video.
Can you hear me now?
Frozen. I can hear you fine, but your video looks frozen. I was just making sure you were still there.
Cool. No, I can hear everything.
Okay, very good. Yeah, perception check.
Anafi pulls out his spell book and notebooks, and he's just flipping through them. He rolled a perception of 3.
Oh, okay, yeah. Anafi must be very busy with other things.
Endel got a natural 20 for 21.
Oh wow, a nat 20. Okay,
Nice.
you definitely see something. How about
I got 21 as well.
a 21 as well? Okay.
Yep.
So let me find the right music here. So as she is working and the kids are working, and it's getting to be later in the day, and they're setting up camp for the night basically. And you see that caravan kind of to the west moving north, and they stop for just a minute. When I say minute, they've been stopped for maybe 15-ish minutes, but then they continue onward. As Stan told you earlier, they often actually travel many hours into the night. Endel and Rise see up on the hill to the east, kind of up in this direction, quite a little ways away, like about a half mile away, you see a lone rider on a white horse at the top of the dunes overlooking the caravan. And this rider seems to be kind of trying to hide their presence. They're not at the top of the dune, all just out to be seen, but they're just peeking over the top of the dune. But you happen to see a horse's head, and you see a figure, a humanoid figure on top of the horse. And you see that on their back seems to be a weapon of sorts. Looks like a sword. And you see they seem to be watching the caravan. It's about a half mile away. They look very small, but you both rolled very good perception.
So I guess Endel's turned around, no? Which way are you looking?
Yeah, I'm looking out that way.
Yeah.
Well, you said it was out to the east, on this map?
It would be up to the northwest, kind of up.
Oh, okay.
Area, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
I
would be looking that way.
Yeah, well, I guess I'd try and make eye contact with you so we'd figure out that we'd both seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of look at you and nod that way.
Yeah.
And then maybe. Well, I've seen that you have a familiar summon an animal that you can have help look at things. So kind of motion at it, I guess. Kind of like, hey, can you maybe get a closer look?
Yeah, cool.
Now, one thing that you two would definitely notice is that nobody from the caravan seems to have seen this yet. You are the only two who have seen this. And you also notice that security on this caravan seems to be kind of sadly lacking, because nobody has given an alarm. No one has seen anything. There are not even sentries out here. That Salamander's the only one, but he's back there. You literally hear him laughing and drinking wine with Estan. You are the only two who see this, apparently.
Yeah, I would even kind of walk over there and mention hey, do you think that bird of yours could get a closer look? Real low under my breath.
Cool. We are in the desert. What do I do? 4 elk. Giant lizard. Oh. One sec. Would a wolf make sense in this environment?
There could be wolves in this environment for sure. Yep.
Yeah, I feel that's probably the best one.
A dingo or a coyote might be slightly more acclimated to this,
Yeah.
but you could summon a wolf and flavor it as a dingo.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. So I'm gonna instead of the familiar, I'm going to wild shape into a dingo wolf.
Nice. Okay, so you all see this happen right in front of you, and Inafi, I feel like this would get your attention. Probably, you would suddenly see Rise shapeshift into the form of a dingo wolf. You would hear the kids go.
When I start to see him do the wild shape, I'm gonna like run over here and be like, "Hey, everybody, look at that!" and like point down toward the south.
Okay.
To try to like cover for him.
What are we looking at? What are we looking at? Where is it?
Roll a deception check to try to get them to look that way.
Oh boy, I'm gonna grab my hot dice.
It's going to be difficult though, because that's quite a sight to see a human shape.
A natural 20.
A nat.
It's a nat 20. It's a total of 20, but it's a nat 20.
A nat 20. Oh, okay. So here's the thing. The little boy and the mom both fall for it. They look south. They're like, what are you looking at? But the little girl, you see her sharp eyes. She rolled a nat 20 as well. You see her sharp eyes look over and she's like,
kid.
and you see her like throw a hand over her mouth as she watches Rise.
And I'm gonna like look back over at her and be like,
her eyes go kind of wide, and then she just like she stays quiet. You can see she has like dirty hands, and you can see there's bruises all over her arms now that her hands are up. Like she's wearing just like a simple cloth schmuck. Like she looks kind of beat up and dirty actually. But I'm
gonna kind of say it's like, oh, I thought I saw something this way. Must have been one of those mirages.
She's gonna look at you and she's like, maybe it was some more of your magic that you claim not to know about or something. And she seems to be more interested in arguing with you, and she does not notice the dingo wolf behind you. That's now suddenly just like there behind you. Rise, what are you gonna do?
I would try and find like a little dip valley kind of thing heading in that direction, so that I'm not going to be seen. Yeah.
So going kind of over in this direction would probably be the best. Let me see if I can actually. I'm going to try to layer these maps here. I'm going to see if this works. All right. This is a little uncharted territory. Okay, here we go. Uh-oh. All right. Okay. This isn't quite perfect, but it's it's kind of close. Okay. All right, here we go. Yeah, okay. We're getting there. I'm getting a little better with Owlbear Rodeo. I'm figuring out.
I was gonna say that was pretty. You got all the stuff loaded up already.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna bring it up here. Now, if we come way out, you can kind of see like the distance. But I'm gonna show you this. Okay. Is that not right? Yeah. We have a white horse. And then we have a figure on that white horse. Nope, wrong way. We gotta go up to here. Uh-oh. There it is.
Not looking.
So if you run around and you kind of do some reconnaissance, are you going to get kind of close enough to try to get a good look at it?
I'm going to head in that direction and then wait and look for Endor. See if anyone's following me.
Is anyone going to follow Rise as he's actually here? Rise, I'll tell you what. Go ahead and show me how far you're going to go, where you're going to move.
Okay, cool.
And then if anyone else wants to move, and at this point, would you guys have pointed out to Anafi what you're looking at?
I will sneak here between Anafi and Oka, both, and say, "Looks like trouble. Follow that dingo."
Okay.
And kind of try to stealthily move, try to use like this bush as cover. And I'm pretty short, so I'm gonna like try to like lean down and hug the ground and stuff. And
you would see Oka run over to the professor and kind of duck down in front of her as if to guard her from any potential danger.
Anafi opens up his robe and puts his head inside, like this. And he starts talking to Ron and says, you go follow them. I'll stay here and look after the professor. But he's only talking to Ron the Weasel, not anyone else.
Gotcha.
So his little familiar Ron will run after him.
Gotcha. Okay, so Ron is gonna run over there. I'm gonna get a little. Okay, so I don't have a token for Ron right now, but I'm gonna grab this little or use this little tree for him for now. So he starts to run. You see his little body slinking through the desert, following along. I'm about to have a token for Ron here. Yeah, heck yeah. Here we go. All right. So now, as you guys are moving closer, basically, I want to know how close you're going to get, basically.
I'm going to be watching Rice and make sure just that if this rider decides to engage in any sort of combat with this dingo that I know to be my friend, that I will be close enough to help.
Gotcha. Okay. So just go ahead and, just show me how close you want to get. Because can you see the long scale? That's a long scale map now, like with lots of... So just show me how close you want to get.
So from where he is, but I would be trying to like kind of be to where I could approach from a different angle if things happen. So I'll stay like probably about 30 feet away from Rice, 30 to 60 feet, kind of like trying to use his movements, but heading in a different sort of path. So if he goes there, I would like hide that using that dune and kind of like come up behind this rock, but still like watching him.
Gotcha.
Trying to like watch between Rice and the rider.
I'm gonna throw another map up here to make it square.
So Ron would be scurrying and leaping and jumping behind rocks and bushes and just as a normal weasel would.
All right, here we go. I've got a here. Can you communicate with Ron? Is that a thing you can like? Can you tell him where you want to go?
Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna give you control of him then, because if he's your familiar, okay. Do you see his little token there?
Right. Where do we end up? There we go.
Right
there he is. Yeah. So he'll come over here somewhere and just sort of jump behind any bush or rock or whatever. He's just following the dingo wolf. He's not aware of the Pale Rider, really. He hasn't seen it. So
okay. So you guys are creeping up there.
Yeah, I'm trying to sort of.
Can I? Let me think. Can I talk to another human when I'm wild shape? Hold on.
Actually, I'm not totally
How does
sure.
it work?
In 5e. In D&D 5th edition, druids can communicate while in wild shape, but the extent of this communication depends on the beast form they adopt.
Oh.
With, and this is a technical sort of question, Anafi has the Comprehend Languages helmet that he's always got on.
So with that...
And he can telepathically communicate with Ron and can see through Ron's eyes, I believe, or understands what Ron sees.
Gotcha. Okay.
So if Ron is within distance, Anafi will be able to understand the dingo's voice.
That would be true with comprehend languages. Yep.
Well, what I think the thing is, I don't know how much closer I can get without being sane.
Okay, so you're trying to remain stealthy at this point. So roll me a stealth check. And Endil, are you trying to stay stealthy as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just scratching myself. Not very stealthily though. That's 9 stealth.
Okay.
15 for me.
Okay, so while you guys are up there, you kind of get a look at this rider, and I'm going to show you a bit of a portrait of what you see. Looks like this. Can you all see that? This guy's sitting on a white horse, and he's just like kind of like looking. But you see Endil that he seems to be. He kind of looks down right at you, like he like looks at you, making eye contact, and then he points with his fingers, and he motions like a come here. And then you see him like take a cigarette out of his mouth and blow some smoke, and then put it back in.
I'm gonna kind of trying to not move my mouth very much. I'm gonna like kind of whisper to the rice dingo and and to and to Ron Weasel, kind of like try to cover me. I'm going in.
Oh, nice.
And kind of this kind of approach and like not make eye contact with either of them. Hopefully this guy just thinks these are wild animals.
Gotcha. Okay. So they're like your pets.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah, like they're just animals that happen to be there.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna mill around.
And I'm gonna try to move up a little bit closer. I will have I'll have a dagger behind my back, in my right hand, and my left hand on the hilt of one of my scimitars as I approach.
So show me how close you want to get to this person. And then Anafi, as you see, I mean, surely you've seen that they've gone off in that direction. Oh, well, Ron is with them, so you know actually a lot.
Yeah, I know what's going on.
The professor
setting it up.
The professor's gonna reach up and kind of like tug on your robe a little bit, and she's gonna say, "What's going on?"
Well, from what I can work out, our two companions have seen something up on the ridges in the sands there. So we're just going to see who it is and see if they are coming to join us, or they're going to or coming to attack us, or nothing at all. So we're just going to see.
Are you saying that at all quietly, or are you saying it loud?
Oh, I'm just talking to
just normally
the professor and Oka, because that's all that's around them. Yeah.
Well, okay. Nobody heard it except for Oka and the professor. Okay, very good.
Yeah, I'm gonna come up to where, like, kind of where my token is, right up here, kind of on that ridge. Try to get a little bit elevated.
As you come up on that ridge and are a bit elevated, and you look over the hill, as soon as you kind of climb up on that ridge, you glimpse over the dunes, kind of down into this area.
Mm-hmm.
And you see a group of about 30 riders on kind of like a mixture of white and black horses, dressed in robes, armed with scimitars and bows.
Oh, man.
And then you see this rider basically urge his horse to ride over towards you a little bit. Very slowly.
You got this, Ron.
And I'm going to say, it's like, what? Who are you?
He's going to ride up, and he kind of takes a little drag on his cigarette, and he's like, I am Almara. And you realize that he's kind of a short human, maybe actually like 5'8", 5'9".
Thanks.
Riding up on a
Never thought I was short till now.
Oh. Well, maybe he's not short in comparison to modern humans. In this setting, though, he seems a bit shorter than he looked from afar.
How did you spell his name again?
His name is Almara, Almara, Sulvani, Sulvani. And he would say, I am Elmana Sulvari. What is your name, warrior?
My name is Endil.
And he has this glazed over look in his eyes, almost like he's like, I don't know, it's kind of strange. He has this glazed over look in his eyes. And then he takes another drag off his cigarette and he's like, Endil, do you work for that caravan?
He refused my offer of employment.
I see.
Not exactly on good terms. He's a little unusual.
And then he's going to say, Endil, I'm planning to attack that caravan and to kill everyone and take their cargo. I trust we won't have a problem then.
Well, looks like I'd be powerless to stop you. What, you plan to kill everyone without discernment?
No, not without discernment. You see, I'm in charge of what you might call a resistance movement. Have you not heard of us? Have you not heard of me before? Is the name Almara Sulvani? Does that not ring? Does that not ring familiar in your ears?
I'm gonna actually lean on my knowledge of history for this. I'm gonna see if there's anything that I would. It's like I'm suspecting at this point with the temple and the time and the hourglass and everything that we are not in the right time. Not so much as it's not in the right place. So I'm gonna start thinking about historical records, history books, that kind of thing, to see if that name rings anything.
Yeah, go for
it. History?
Yes, go ahead and make a history check.
Okay.
So Anafi via Ron hears all this.
Yes.
And he says quietly, very quietly to the professor and okay, all that information.
That's 21. Total of 21.
So with that, you realize, no, you've never heard of anything like this. never heard of this person. It must be from this new world. It must not have roots in the world within which you have knowledge of.
Sure. I'll say that name is unfamiliar to me. What do you stand for?
He's going to say, he's going to kind of lean back in his horse. You hear the saddle kind of creak, the leather creak, and he almost seems to only be paying half attention. Like there's something about him. You're almost wondering if he is not on some kind of substance or something. He's acting almost like he's not even all the way there. But then he kind of leans back and he says, we are the keepers of the burning eye. We serve Ra-Aman. We are here to bring Sahuret to its proper place. There are deep evils burning within this land, and we seek to purge them. So what we will do is we'll put every man, woman, and child to the sword, and if they accept the commandments of Ra-Aman, they shall be saved. And if they do not, their blood will return to the sand from whence it came. And we will take the plunder, and we will return to our temple, where we will rejoice in the name of victory. And our God will bless us, as he does every time we win a victory against these evildoers who curse our land with commerce from other lands that do not have our best interests at heart. That is what we shall do, Endel. And then he kind of rides up a little closer with his horse, almost with what seems like complete disregard for his own safety. He rides like right up to you, and he would say, the question is, Endel, whose side are you on? Because you are here and I am here, and yet you say you are not aligned with this caravan. And so there's a question. Perhaps you will assist us. Perhaps you would like to join us. And it is a simple matter to join the Keepers of the Burning Eye, a very simple, straightforward list of virtues. It is uncomplicated, and yet the world makes it so complicated. And he like shakes his head.
So Anafi is talking with the professor and Oka about these Keeper of the Burning Eye, whether they've heard about it. This Ra-Aman.
She's gonna look at you with a confused look. She's like, none of that means anything to me. Where are you hearing this? How are you hearing this?
Well, you know I'm a wizard, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean,
And you saw my weasel.
Well, yeah. And then her eyes go wide.
We're connected.
She's like, are they going to attack us?
Yes, I think so. Unless we can get out of it somehow.
Oka looks up at you and he says, we must get to safety.
Let's see what Endel does first.
Nice.
All right, so
be ready.
Going back up to Endel and Rise. Rise is also right there too. Rise, feel free to act if you'd like to, but
yeah, I've just been listening.
I'm gonna look at him and did any of those other names, the Rahman or any of that, ring any bells? I was looking through my notes a little bit. I'm like,
yeah, no. Unfortunately, for Endel, it almost sounds like gibberish. These are all things that he has not heard before. And Endel is an expert at some of the like historical type things.
Yeah, like history and all that. So I'm like sitting there and I'm like, okay, so Rahman, and none of this is ringing any bells.
You know, and actually one thing comes to mind for Endel. He thinks to himself, none of this sounds real. It almost sounds like this is a different world than Greyhawk.
Yeah.
To think to himself. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what he's thinking to himself, but that thought would tempt.
Right. That idea of this is extremely unfamiliar. And so I'm almost like studiously trying to remember everything he says. at the same time trying to keep him engaged long enough for Anafi to get necessary people to safety.
Yeah.
And so I'm just going to try to keep him engaged as long as I can. They say, you mentioned virtues.
Yes.
What are the virtues you seek?
Order. Order above all else. This is a land of chaos. And in order to survive, we must have order. And the order comes from belief. Belief that our God Ra-Aman brings us divine right, brings his followers divine right. Right now, I am the king. I am the king of the desert. I am the one Ra-Aman has anointed with divine right. And so what I say is order and law. And my virtues are as such. You fight in the defense of Sahuret, or you allow it to be overrun by malicious invaders who take advantage of its people and take our gold and take our resources elsewhere to forsaken lands across the sea and across the mountains. And as he's saying this to you, he's like looking up in the sky, and he's barely even looking at you, and it's almost like he's stuck in a fever dream type state. He's definitely not completely with it. You'll notice.
Mm-hmm. Anafi pulls out a little copper wire from his component pouch and wraps it around his finger, and he says quietly, "Sounds like religious zealots. Be very careful what you say." To Endel. Via message.
Yeah.
So you can respond, but no one else can hear it.
Right. Perfect. And so I'll say, so if your word is truth, what is true right now?
He's gonna lift his cigarette back up and take a big drag off it. You see the little red cherry on the end burn and a little smoke go up. And then he would say, what is true right now is that the leader of that caravan has taken money from the godless, and he exploits citizens of Sahuret, citizens of Ra-Aman. He exploits them as slaves, and he will be put to the sword for this. There is no question. The only question is whether those who follow are too forsaken to understand the evil within which they've been pulled. And I pray for their souls. I really do. He takes another drag of a cigarette. He's like, I pray for every single one of them. I hope they understand. I hope they understand the evil with which they've become entangled, and that death is preferable to a life of this miserable slavery.
Tell me, what do you believe of? What do you believe of redemption?
Redemption? In times of peace, redemption can come from a change of heart, but in times of war, redemption only comes by recycling the soul through the sand and the sun.
I'm going to kind of wait for that recycling through the sand of the sun kind of thing. I might even barely a micro expression, just kind of glance over at Ron. Mm-hmm. Did you hear that? The sand of the, thinking about the hourglass. And I know he's seen the hourglass.
Yeah.
So I'm going to look over at Ron, just barely, really quickly. But then kind of see if give him a little bit of time to maybe react to that.
Yeah. So at this point, Rise or Anafi, is there anything you'd like to do while this conversation's
happening? If you looked up, you'd probably see that I'm on just the other side of the crest of that dune there. So pretty clearly ready to jump if you make any move.
Gotcha. Okay. So you're kind of hiding there, poised, ready.
Yeah. On my haunches.
He does not.
Ron's just trying to act natural as a weasel and jumping from bush to bush. Not going too close to the dingo wolf.
Okay. Is Ron trying to stay hidden or not really?
Not really. It's more a natural thing that he becomes hidden because he's quite small, obviously.
As he's hopping around, you notice that this man on the horse seems to pay absolutely zero attention to Ron. He might not even see him at all. He might not have even noticed him. His ability to spot things seems to be relatively impaired due to his seems like an inebriated state of some kind, like whether he's on like you're not quite sure. He doesn't really act drunk, but it's almost like if you've been around people, in Greyhawk, I don't know if Endel or Rise or Anafi had been around people who were doing like psychedelics. It almost seems like he's under the influence of a psychedelic, is what it feels.
You guys haven't been to a druid party.
And I'm going to continue my little dialogue with this guy and kind of say, and what of those who do not oppose but do not fight?
Well, of course, they'll be given a chance to accept. They'll be given a chance to exclaim, to proclaim their worship of the one God of Sahuret, Ra-Aman. Of course, there are other gods, but even the other gods serve Ra-Aman. And so it is very gracious to understand that, for example, those who worship Nyleth, those who worship Satara, they will all proclaim Ra-Aman as supreme. And that is all that matters. That is all that matters. Because if someone claims this, then we know that we are on the same side. And we know that they are not in league with these devils, these demons who come from the east. Or I'm sorry, no, the west. These demons who come from the west. These demons who come from the lands of the rock and the mountain and the barren soul. And then you kind of see him hold out. His cigarette is almost gone, and then he just like flicks it away. And he says, "The hour has come, Endel." His words almost like trip over themselves. He almost is having a hard time actually saying things. He says, "The hour has come, Endel. The hour has come upon us. It is time for glory." And you kind of see him reach back for his scimitar that's on his back. He's just like looking down at the sand as he starts to draw it from its sheath. Would anyone like to do anything?
Is he still on his own?
Yeah, he's up there by himself, and all of his riders are way down. Like they're kind of down over in like way over in this area. Like
okay,
there's 30 riders down there, but they're just down there with their horses, and they're all kind of like saddled up, but they're watching him, and they're not moving.
And I said, "And what of the slaves?"
He says, "Slaves will be given a chance to claim their allegiance. And if they are truly allied with us, they will join us. Such is the way. Such is the way of the keepers of the burning eye."
Anafi relates this new information to the professor and Oka.
The
I don't know, I
professor's.
can't-
Oh my god!
can't remember
Oh
his
my
name.
god!
3 letters.
We should. Oka, get us into that tent over there. She's gonna point over to this tent. Oka's gonna like help her up, and she's gonna kind of limp over there. They're gonna like limp over to that tent.
I feel.
And
Follow.
on the way, actually, she's gonna say to Sumi and the 2 kids, she's gonna be like, "Come with us now." And Sumi's gonna be like, "What are you talking about?" And then the doctor's gonna say, "There's no time. Get over here." And they all follow over there with you guys. And then then Oka would kind of go into the tent. This is actually this is the tent where it seems like Astan keeps his wardrobe and such. There's like 2 big like trunks full of things in there. I mean, the trunks are closed, and then there's like a big mirror and like a wardrobe type thing. It's kind of lightweight, but there's a big mirror on it. And then there's like a kind of like a bench, sort of like a daybed type thing, like a red velvet daybed type thing. Also kind of portable, like the legs can fold up. But and then on the floor, there's just like this canvas laid down that's actually very brown in color. But as Sumi walks in there, she would say, "We're not supposed to be in here." The kids kind of go in there and they're like walking on the ground and they're like looking at the canvas and they're looking in the mirror. The professor would say, "Shh, hide as best you can." Now, Inafi, you're right there seeing all this happen. What would you like to do while this is going
on? Yeah, I've just been trying to work out what I can do.
No problem.
Essentially, he'll start ritual casting Tensor's floating disc.
Very good.
Make sure that Professor has mobility. So that'll take about 10 minutes.
As you're doing that, which direction are you looking in? I assume you're looking at your spell book, but what direction are you facing?
I suppose it would depend on the inside of the tent here. You just sort of walk into the middle of the group or somewhere there.
Okay.
Yep.
If you're that close and you're doing that, you see the doctor, or the professor, she's like back there and she's like in the corner and she kind of sits on that daybed and she looks down at her leg, which is kind of awkwardly sitting there. Obviously, it's kind of like all the flesh is healed, but the bone is still broken. And then she has this like strange look come across her face and she kind of reaches back and touches her backpack. And you kind of see her zone out for just a minute, like she's thinking about something. You see Oka gets out his stick and he goes up and he closes the entrance to the tent, like shuts it really tightly and then ties the rope. And then he stands there at guard with his staff, basically.
I'm going to say to this guy, Almara, said, "What kind of help would you be looking for?"
The kind of help that's willing to claim souls to protect Sahuret.
I don't know about Sahuret, and I don't know about this Rahman. I'm not saying I'm against you. What do you have against that caravan exactly?
He's going to kind of look at you. And for the first time, he actually looks at you with some focus, though it seems to take some effort. And he like leans down on the saddle of his horse. And actually, he removes his hand from his scimitar for a minute and leans down his horse. And he says, "What do you mean you don't know about Sahuret? What does that mean exactly?"
I'm new to this area.
Where did you come from, stranger? Come from the east? From the west?
From above.
So from the north?
No. I look up at the sky.
Interesting. He'll look up as well. And then he's going to kind of close his eyes, and you see him muttering some things. And I'm going to roll something for him real quick. He's going to mutter a few things, and then he looks back down at you, and he kind of opens his eyes. You come from another world. And then quickly he reaches up and he would unsheath his scimitar. The minute he does that, you hear this loud sound of all the riders down in the valley below unsheathing their weapons. I mean, you hear like swords being drawn, bows getting knocked. You hear horses whinnying and stomping. And it sounds like it was kind of a signal. And then he would look at you and he would say, well, otherworldler, are you with us or you are against us? Which is it?
I'm not going to fight you.
He would say, wise. And then he would rear up his horse and it would whinny. And then you hear this thundering of hooves as the riders down in the valley below begin to charge. And
Endel hears Anafi's voice in a new message and saying, I've got everyone safe in this tent. If you can keep those raiders away from this tent, we should be good.
And I would message back and I say, stay down, stay undercover. And has Almara, has he moved at all?
No, he actually is. He rears up on his horse, but he doesn't move anywhere. He just rears up. And that's when that whole group seems to charge. And now we're going to roll initiative. Okay. Now, when we roll initiative, here I can add you all to the initiative counter. Yeah, add to initiative, and then roll initiative, and then just add your initiative to the initiative counter, if you would. Let's see, we got enough.
Where are you?
It's a dirty 20.
Nice.
Oh, you'd still be ritual casting.
Yeah, Anafi is still ritual casting.
Yeah, I figured that.
He's got his head on a swivel, though.
You still got time. Wow, Sumi actually pretty high. Is that everybody? Everyone get their initiatives? Okay. Mm-hmm. It's going to be Anafi first. What would you like to do? As you hear
he's just going to finish. He's just going to finish casting.
Okay, so he would finish his ritual cast at this point, and he would summon Tensor's floating disc.
Okay, they're coming. And he'll say quietly to Sumi, the keepers of the Burning Eye are coming. You stay in here with me and your children, and we should be safe.
Oh my God! Keepers of the Burning Eye? She kind of like shouts out.
And he shushes her.
And then she would suddenly dive onto the ground, and she would pull a necklace out of her cloak, and she would hold it up, and she would start praying to it. You see that she has this necklace that has a little pendant, this little wooden pendant of a sun. And she starts praying to it.
Oh.
Yep. So
Okay.
that would be Anafi.
Very good. Okay. It's going to be Almara's turn next. So he reared up on his horse, looked down at you, Endel, and he would say, "What say you, otherworlder? Will you join, or will you serve these outsiders?" And then he takes off riding. Now he leaves your threat zone. He would provoke an attack of opportunity if you would like to attack him.
I'm not going to attack him.
Okay. And he just rides away from you, kicking up dirt. His horse, the thundering hooves underneath, just kicking up sand as it rides, riding right towards the dingo wolf, actually. But actually, he is going to dash. So he's actually going to go right past. He's going to go. So as he rides, as you're still a dingo wolf, correct?
Yeah.
So he rides, and he almost rides right over you. He barely misses you. Sand just flies up in your face as he rides past you. Seems to pay you no mind. You could make an attack of opportunity on him if you wanted to. He's riding forward, scimitar outstretched on his horse. He looks like a very skilled, combative rider, actually.
I'd try to get out of the way rather than attack.
Okay.
So I just saw Endel let him go.
Yeah, you can totally get out of the way. All right, then we're going to go to it is Endel's turn. Now, Endel, there is a whole group. I mean, there's a bunch of riders, and I'm just going to put they're down here. You go ahead and go, but they're kind of riding up in this direction. 30 of them. And I'm only going to place a few because some of them are riding kind of down south to the southern end. These are the ones who are kind of riding more northwardly, but they've kind of started riding up the ledge as if to follow their leader.
I believe in you, Endel.
I'm going to call after him. No prophet of order sheds innocent blood. Remember that. And I'm going to just start running.
Go for it.
After him. I am slow. Three, four, five. That's a movement and a dash, so that's me.
Okay, very good. Then we will go to Sumi. Sumi is here in the thing. She's praying, and she actually calls her children over. She's like, Carlo, which is it's Carlo and Benji. Benji, Carlo, come here, and they both come, and they kind of basically get on their knees beside her, and she puts her arms around both of them, and she's fervently praying, and she's got she's holding this totem in her hand, and she's holding both of them, and you see them both looking kind of very scared and upset, and they're kind of starting to cry a little bit, especially Benji, who's the younger one. He's starting to cry a little bit, but you kind of see the little girl, Carlo. She's looking actually a little bit stronger, and you kind of see her trying to look strong, but you see a little tear running down her eye, like she's very worried. That's what Sumi is going to do, but I got to roll a religion check for her. Oh no, it's a very high religion check. All right. All right. It is now Dr. Morgan's turn. Dr. Morgan looks over at you, Anafi, and you see this look of very real concern on her face. And she leans over towards you and she says, "Is there anything you can do?"
Right now, I have an idea, but there's not much more I can do than an idea. I'm thinking we put a little sign at the front of the tent with the symbol of the burning eye. Sumi, do you know the symbol?
Sumi's gonna hold up her sigil, and you just see this sun, like basically a very rustic, rough carving of sun.
So that's the burning eye, is it?
She's like, this is the symbol of Ra-Aman. The burning eye serves Ra-Aman. There.
Excellent. Carlo, you can really help. You and I, we're going to make a picture of the burning eye, of Mum's little pendant, and we're going to stick it just outside the front of the tent so we don't get attacked.
So before you even, you barely get done with that, and she walks forward and she pulls the canvas that's on the floor of the tent back, and she starts drawing in the sand. And she draws a sun with an eye in the middle. And then she no sooner dots the eye in the middle than you hear Sumi say, "Carlo, stop!" Like, very concerned. And then Carlo just like finishes it and then looks up at you, Inafi, like with this look of like, that's the symbol.
So Inafi's very happy. He's very smiley and gentle with her. Thank you. This will come in very handy. He'll do the rest on his turn.
Okay. Now we go to Rice's turn.
Does it look like Endel, does it look like you're going to attack this rider, or you're just running?
No, I'm just running back to make sure that nobody messes with that tent.
Yeah, okay. I think I'll do the same then. I'm gonna dash. So I got 80 feet. So nice. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. And I'm just going to bark a few times.
Okay, very good.
As he runs past, I'm going to yell at him to keep your eyes on that salamander.
As you yell that, you kind of see the guy on the horse. What's his name? I forgot. Nope.
Almara.
You kind of see Almara kind of like glance back at you, almost like a what? Like he barely understood the words and did not know what they meant. Almost like a, what are you talking about? Kind of look, but he glances back and looks forward. All right. Now we go to Aka's turn. Aka's just standing at the front of the tent, and he looks at Inafi. And Inafi, you see the Aka. He looks. He's got his like dark colored glasses on. Kind of designed to protect from the sun, and he's got his staff out. He looks at you, and you detect a modicum of concern. And he says, "Wizard, how can I assist?"
You can assist by keeping everyone away from the door.
Yes.
I don't want anyone near the door.
He's going to turn around. He says, "Nobody come near the door." And then you see the little girl kind of take a step back. He says, "Yes, take a step back. Everyone away." And he just kind of starts to move them back. He says, "You too, Professor. Take a step back." She's going to take a step back. Okay, that's his turn. We now go to the top of the order. Inafi's turn.
Yeah, so Inafi will walk out of the tent, and he'll pull out a bit of wool, of all things, and he rubs it between a couple of fingers, and he says, this tent is now the house of the burning eye. And he casts minor illusion, a 5-foot cube image of the burning sun image thing at the top of the tent and rotating.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And then he'll walk back into the tent.
Will it obviously be magical? Obviously.
Yes. Yeah. It's just a minor illusion.
Roll me a religion check.
Religion.
What a good spell.
Oh, that was so good until it rolled onto the 3.
Oh, no.
8.
An 8. Okay. When you step out of the tent and you look up, you see there's the bright, blue sky. And Anafi is taken in by the blue. Like, Anafi has seen a lot of sky. He was just out in the desert, in Greyhawk doing research. When he looks up at the sky, he sees just this bright blue, and it kind of captures his consciousness for a moment. And he looks up into it, and then he casts the spell, and he sees the spell take shape above the tent. And then there's a little bit of something. Now the sun itself is way over to the west. It's only about an hour from sinking beneath the horizon, so it's casting these long shadows. It's starting to cool down a little bit too. But then, as you're casting this, down at your feet, you feel something. Would you look down toward it? If Anafi looks down, he sees suddenly there's a large diamond-headed snake coiled up at his feet. You see it kind of coiling and moving, and then you see its neck stretch out into a cobra. It's actually it looks like a king cobra. It's coiled up at his feet.
Anafi stumbles backwards and falls on his bum.
When Anafi stumbles backwards and looks up, he sees the snake is gone. And he maybe questions, was it even real? You look up and your symbol is up there. You can't help but feel there was some kind of connection. You putting up that symbol and seeing the snake. But now you look and you see no sign of the snake. Did it just slither away very fast? Or it would have been hard to get away that quick. But anyway, that's what you see. Will that be the end of your turn?
Yeah, Anafi would walk. Eventually, pick himself up, brush off the sand, and walk back into the tent.
All right.
Close it behind him.
Very good. He goes back into the tent. Now we move to Almara's turn. Almara's going to go riding. He's going to dash again. All right. He goes riding full force. Doesn't really change direction. Doesn't say anything. It's now Endel's turn. Behind Endel, he hears these riders riding. Thundering of hooves.
Oh.
Yeah, same thing. I'm just gonna run and then dash.
Gotcha. Anything else?
As soon as Ron Weasel sees Endel dashing, he'll chase after him.
Gotcha. All right, go for it. You can move him wherever you want.
I guess as I'm running, I would be fully drawing a scimitar in my left hand and a dagger in my right.
Okay. All right, very good. We now go to Sumi. She's still praying in the tent. And then she would open her eyes and she would say, well, actually, no, I take that back. She was actually yelling at Carlo not to draw this symbol. She was like, stop. Then Carlo had drawn it. So she would actually step forward, move Benji behind her, and she would say to Carlo, she would walk up and grab Carlo by the shoulder and say, why are you drawing that? That's dangerous. Do you know what that means? And then Carlo looks up at her defiantly and would say, I know what it means. I know what it means better than you do. And then she would say, and then she would kind of yell out, that was father's symbol. And then you see Sumi's eyes go like super wide. There seems to be some kind of family drama unfolding in front of you, Inafi. But that's what happens on Sumi's turn. Now we go to Dr. Morgan's turn. She is just actually, Inafi, you see her casting a spell, and you see a little bright light appearing in her palm, and you see kind of a rudimentary magic missile being prepared as she focuses on the door of the tent. And then she looks over at you and makes eye contact. And then she says, when they come in, as if asking you if she should hit them when they come in.
Oh, I don't know. It's probably a good idea.
Okay.
And we'll
She's just going to keep it prepared. Yeah, Inafi knows that the doctor has some wizard-like abilities, but she's not a very high-level wizard. She majored more in archaeology than in the arcane arts. All right, then we go to Rise Adar.
Okay. Yep. I'm dashing. Cool. And let's see how far I can get. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 75, 80. There we go. Making a run for it.
Yeah, heck, the dingo wolf is just running, kicking up sand, just bolting through the desert.
Enjoying the
Is that
run.
going to be the end of your, is that the end of your turn?
Yep. Just warning them coming
right.
as well.
Akka's just guarding he turns around after herding people away from the door and just turns back around with his staff, and he's just holding his turn. We go back to Inafi.
Oh, back to me already. It's
Yeah.
a quick game when there's only 3 of us.
Yes. And when the NPCs are just running or hiding or
Yeah. So he doesn't have much else to do at this stage. So he would do similar to Professor Estable and prepare a magic missile.
okay.
And ready that in case a raider comes through the door.
All right. Very good. We're gonna go to Amara. His white horse galloping through the sands. He's running. We go to Endel. Your turn, Endel.
Okay. I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing. Just try to get back. All right. Movement and dash. And I'll be as I'm running, kind of like looking out for any movement back at the caravan to try to see. Are the people that I know or the people that I presume innocent, are they safe? Do I see that salamander anywhere? What is he doing? If I see him at all?
It's actually a really good question.
Or Istan. So I do not like those dudes at this point.
Actually,
That's why I was trying to do everything quiet.
so at this point, you do not see any of them. Actually, you where you saw Sumi and the children in Inafi, you don't see anybody. But you do see above the tent. It looks like a sun with an eye in the middle. And Inafi, would you like to add any kind of extra, visual description to it?
Not really. I'm just going by the child's drawing in the dirt. So whatever she's drawn, there's what's in that picture.
It's rotating though, right?
It's rotating, yes.
So you see that, Endel, as you come up closer.
Had that symbol been anywhere on Elmara?
No, not that you saw. However, you should roll me a history check.
Okay. 18.
All right. You see that and you realize, that's kind of a universal symbol. There are gods in Greyhawk who, the sun is kind of representative of them. But this particular symbol of this eye within the sun does not really. Once again, you're kind of struck by how, I'm an expert at these things. And here's a whole magical symbol seemingly floating in the sky that I have actually no frame of reference for. And I don't know how that would strike Endel, but that's something that would happen. Because Endel is kind of an expert at these things.
Yeah, so definitely I would be thinking that it's weird that I don't recognize it.
Yeah, especially since it's literally a magical symbol in the air, and you have no frame of reference for how it got there, unless Inafi, unless you communicated with Endel that you made it. But
no, I don't think I would have. It was very much.
No,
I told Endel I'd mark the 10.
Yeah,
but I didn't say how I was going to mark it.
Yeah, okay. I knew Ron knew that the attack was coming, therefore Inafi would have, and I told them to, kind of take cover and everything. So I'm figuring that is significant in some way. So I'm just kind of looking for where the people that I like are, so that I can make sure that nothing bad happens to them. Yeah. Trying to is, running my darndest to try to get back before those 30 horsemen do.
Yeah, which at this point you don't actually see any sign of where they went. The only thing you see that's different is that floating symbol.
All right. Fair enough.
Now we get go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, fair enough. Good. That's good for me.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Now we're going to go to Sumi's turn within the tent. Sumi says, okay, all right. How far is she going to take this? Sumi says, your father left us. And she's going to actually kind of give Carlo a shake. And then Carlo is going to look angry at her and go to push her hand off. And she's going to say, father didn't leave us. There's a war. And Inafi, you see this happening right in front of you. And then you just see Benji behind. He's just looking sad and scared, and he's hiding behind Sumi, basically clutching on her robes. He's the younger one, he's 8, but he's just looking freaked out. That's what Sumi does on her turn. It is now Dr. Morgan's turn. She's just holding her turn. Okay, now the salamander. At this point, you hear outside the tent. You hear. Actually, let me go to a slightly different music here. Yeah, here we go. So you hear the salamander's voice, which his name was. I got to refresh my memory here.
Quasm.
Quasm. That's what it was. Yep. All right. You hear Quasm kind of shout, prepare for attackers. And then he you see him basically dash out here, and he picks up his spear. That's what he does on his turn. And then it is Rise's turn.
Cool. Let's see what I got. 10, 20, 30, 40, 60. I won't be able to do much. I am going to go in between these two peaks and turn and face the horse and like just try and intimidate it, growl at it when it comes towards me, and attack if it comes within range.
Okay. Roll me an. So roll an intimidate. Okay, so do you want the barking and growling at it to be like your action for the turn? Are you trying to get the horse to do something special?
Yeah, sure. I'll do that instead. Yeah.
Then you should roll a handle animal check with advantage,
Okay.
I think, or intimidate, whichever's better for you.
I'd probably prefer animal handling.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Whoa. That's a 19 plus 4, 23.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Okay, that's
wow.
actually a good roll. Okay. So you bark, and you're still as a dingo wolf, right? So you're barking, making noise, and then this horse is coming up on you, but then suddenly the horse just rears up, and of course, as a druid, you're more in tune to these animals than the average mortal, and so you see this horse and you bark at it and then you see this gleam of fear in its eye, and it rears up on its hind legs, and actually I think that will
Cool.
okay. You see that the rider, Almara, is barely able to hang on, but he almost gets thrown off as this horse bucks and just kind of refuses to go any further.
Cool.
And then you wanted to get in a position where if they ride past, you're going to make an attack of opportunity. Is that kind of what you said?
Yeah.
Okay. So since you're kind of positioning yourself in that way strategically, I'm going to say you get advantage on that attack of opportunity when it comes.
Ah, cool.
Okay, so is that going to be the end of your turn? Do you have any other actions?
That's that's me.
Okay. Aka's going to hold his turn. He's just in there. It's Inafi's turn. Inafi, you hear this horse whinnying outside of the tent. You hear barking. What are you going to do? You hear the salamander shout, "Intruders! Prepare!"
Inafi will just move to one corner of the tent to set up like a crossfire with the professor. So both massive missiles have clear line of sight. But that's about it. He'll just say, "Look, just calm down. Just stay close. Stay tight."
Very good. All right. We're going to go to Stan now. So Stan is... You guys hear him shout... You hear him shout, "Quasum, stop them! Protect my gold!" And he runs into his tent. All of the others, you kind of hear muffled cries come from inside tent. All of the others, prepare defense. And then it's going to be Almara's turn. So Almara comes back down on the horse and kind of says, you hear Almara say, "Cursed dog." And then he goes right past you. Now, roll your attack of opportunity if you'd like to, with advantage.
19 on the die, and then plus some stuff. Wolf. There we go. Plus 4, so 23 to hit.
Oh, wow. Are you trying to hit the horse or the rider?
Horse.
So you hit the horse, and the horse whinnies and leaps, literally leaps to the side, which was prompting the rider to roll another handle animal check.
Hey.
The horse jumps to the side, literally, and then the rider gets thrown off. He goes flying through the sand, slams into the ground. I mean, just on his back, wham, and rolls a couple times. And the horse kind of turns towards you, and you just see its eyes looking at you, and it snorts.
Oh.
And as an animal, as a druid who understands
Oh,
animals,
it actually has a the wolf bite says if the target is a creature, it's got a DC 11 saving throw or it's prone.
oh, okay. Might make that check.
Yeah.
Oh, it failed.
Hey.
Okay, so what happened?
Yeah, I think they just both go flying.
Oh, did the horse go prone? If
Yeah.
so, the horse
Yeah.
also slams into the sand and slides over here, kind of like actually.
Cool.
I think that what would happen is he would go flying off, and then the horse would fall, and then the horse would kind of like slam into him, and they would just both like be in a heap in a pile over in the corner.
Awesome.
Sand everywhere.
Perfect.
All right. So now, that's their turn. It's now Intel's turn.
Oh, and it's 2d4 damage.
Oh, okay. Actually,
That's a 2 and a 3, 5, 7 piercing on the horse.
gotcha. All right. Very good. You see a little blood running down the forearm of the creature. And you see it kind of look over at you, and you can see it's not very pleased with the dingo wolf who bit it. All right, it's Endel's turn. Unless you have any other actions, Rise.
I was just gonna run, so I'm continuing to be
Go for it.
between them and the between them
And
and
then-
the camp.
While Rise is finishing it up, go ahead, Endel. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just moved and dashed. Once again, I take note of what just happened. I'm not really looking to necessarily get in the middle of any kind of weird civil war. I just want to make sure that no innocent lives are lost, especially children.
As you're running past, and I assume you're running fast, right? Would that be a
As
good?
fast as I can go.
You're running. You kind of look over and you see this horse and rider just. I mean, go down in the sand, slide. I mean, it's awful. Awful as in, I mean, sand in the face, sand in the mouth. You know, and you see that that the rider, Almara, you see him kind of just sliding in the sand with almost this acceptance, like. He's just like, you don't see that he doesn't look angry. He doesn't look enraged. He almost just is like, if his body language could say, I accept the sand. That's what it seems to say. And then the horse lands on top of him and you can't see him anymore.
Except the horse.
Wow.
Anyway, is that the end of your turn, Endel?
It is. I just kind of like mutter like under my breath. It's like, oh, rice.
Now, in here, meanwhile, Sumi says, Carlo, you don't know what you're talking about. Your father put us all in danger, and this is just another incident. And then she goes to kick the symbol that Carlo drew on the floor. And then she kicks it and kind of puts a big footmark through it. And then Carlo says, Mom, stop. And then Carlo launches herself at her mom and then grabs her by the waist. And the mom grabs her, and then they're just arguing, and it's kind of this it's very loud actually. They're both yelling at each other. And Anafi, if there's anything about this, yeah, I think it's very loud.
He's doing his best librarian shush.
Roll a persuasion check. Roll a persuasion check.
Eight.
8. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Actually. Oh, they both suddenly stop and look over at you. I mean, the whole thing just stops and they both look at you. As if looking why did you shush me kind of thing.
Yeah. And Anafi just gives them that cold librarian stare. What are you doing making noise in here?
And then Sumi would kind of say, shh, to Carlo. And then the noise seems to stop very quickly. And that will bring us to Dr. Morgan. She's just holding her turn. Oh, it's the Salamander's turn. The Salamander's seeing all this, so he goes charging. He actually dashes. That's the end of his turn. He goes running out to meet the attacker. Although on the attacker's turn, actually, we see all these riders coming in.
Woof.
Riders with basically kind of face coverings, half of them bearing scimitars, half bearing short bows, riding on black or brown or white horses, thundering just over the dunes. And you can hear them, just their hooves pounding the sand behind you. And then that takes us to Rise's next turn. All right, your turn, Rise.
Okay. Can you see the tent? Like, is it opened or has it got closed sides?
No, the tent is all closed. It's all closed in. You mean the tent that the people are in?
Yeah, yeah.
No, it's
So
all
I
closed.
wouldn't necessarily know they were there.
No, not unless Anafi were to tell you, because Anafi is
Hmm.
communicating via message with some people, but no. And you see a symbol,
No, I don't know what it
the
means.
same symbol I described to Endel, you would see floating above it. A symbol of a sun, an eye in the center. And this was not here just moments before.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I'll probably make a guess because there's no other magic users. What? Oh, I got no idea. Oh, these horses are coming in quick.
You see that there's another detachment of horses. The rest of them are heading south. So they're off screen, but you kind of see that they're riding south as in to intercept the back part of the caravan. But this is the northern part, because you guys just west of you is like the front of the caravan, which stretches quite a little ways. It stretches like 1/8 of a mile, the whole caravan.
Cool. I'm not sure how this would work mechanically, but could I like run alongside Endel? So kind of end up where Endel ends up and just have his back?
Yeah.
Because
Would
those
you like
horses
to
are- yeah.
would you like to hold your action until Endel's next turn?
Yeah, let's do that. Yep.
Okay, so Rise, just remind me that when Endel takes his turn, remind me that you held your action. Okay.
Okay.
All right. We're going to move to Akka. Akka's just holding. It's Anafi's turn.
Seeing through Ron's eyes, who's very close to Endel at the moment, even though I don't know where his token's gone. Sorry.
Oh, no, is it?
I can't see it. Like,
Oh,
it's
no,
a
we'll
personal issue.
We'll put it back out. We'll put it right here.
Oh, no. Like, I have
Shibari.
sight issues.
Well,
Um,
I don't see it either, so that's okay. We'll put it right here. Can you see it right there?
Yep.
All right, Shibari.
Oh.
Oh,
no.
wait a minute. I got to give you control of it. Hold on.
It's a big old map.
It might have gotten lost. It might have got lost.
Yeah.
There we go.
There we are. All right. So he'll just be like shadowing Endel, running alongside him.
Very good. Very good.
And Anafi will turn to the group and quietly, and saying, stay calm, stay calm. I think they're very close now, but if we stay calm and quiet, they may go right past us. I've put a big symbol on top of the thing saying that we are the Burning Eye. So hopefully that'll keep us safe from these raiders.
When you say that, at the exact same time, Carlo looks at you and says, oh, you did? We're going to be safe. And then Sumi says, oh my God, you've doomed us. She just looks shocked at you. And then they both look at each other and you see these angry looks come on their faces again. And then you see the boy Benji, he kind of crosses over into this. There's another tent back here and he slips through the little basically tent separator, which is just like canvas, and he disappears into the next tent. He seems to creep into that next tent. You don't know where he went because you see the canvas kind of shut behind him. Okay. Anyway, all right.
He'll tell Arco to stay ready there just in case, but don't move, don't make any sounds, don't go outside the tent.
So,
and he'll say in message to Endel exactly what's going on within the tent and that he's put the symbol on top of the tent himself.
Okay. So Endel, you hear about that Inafi put the symbol up there.
Okay.
All right. Inafi, is at the end of your turn?
Yep.
All right. We go to Estan. As you don't know what Estan is doing, we go to Almara. Almara gets up, spits a bunch of sand out of his mouth. His horse stands up, grunting and pawing at the ground, and he you hear him kind of mutter something, and then he kind of jumps up onto his horse again, still scimitar in hand, but now they can only take a little bit of movement. And go 5, 10, 15. Rise, they actually come running up on you, but you'll notice that they're not running up on you in an attacking sense. They seem to be trying to ride past you. In fact, you'll see that the rider actually pays zero attention to you at all, but the horse glares daggers at you and tries to run towards you, but then Almara jerks the horse back on target to keep going toward the tents and keeps the horse from attacking you. Anyway, so that's what you notice. Now we go to Endel. Endel's turn.
Let's see. I will keep on moving.
Oh, now you're pulling out ahead of the leader.
Yeah, I will run and dash once again, weapons in hand. Kind of keeping my eyes out for either my friends or that salamander, which I can see on the map he's there.
Well, you would be able to see him now because there's a little ridge there, but as you're running up here, you would gain sight of him kind of as you pass this. Actually, I'll show you. Can I do that? Here's my distance tool. Don't I have a distance tool? Yeah, measure. Here we go. As you pass this bush, you would gain visual of him. Okay. So right at the end of your turn, you would see him.
Okay.
He has a spear out, and he's running that way.
Yeah. Once again, I'm not really aiming to get into the middle of a civil war. I'm just trying to keep my friends safe and my new friends safe. So I kind of yell at Almara as I'm running past that the tent with the symbol is full of innocence. And
roll the persuasion check real quick.
And I will.
Are you saying that with any kind of specific, if you were going to describe the emotion behind that?
Almost a sternness, as if I'm trying to lecture him and recall what I had said, almost a minute ago now, about how a prophet of order would not spill innocent blood.
Okay, got you.
Trying to sort of continue that lesson, as it were. Okay. Persuasion. 3.
Okay. As you ride by, you hear no answer from him, but are you going to look at him as you say it, or are you just saying it as you room.
Yeah, I mean, I would kind of like look over at him. Once again, with almost like a professorly sort of like sternness of like, I'm saying something significant. You should listen to it. Kind of expression.
You see him glance over at you with an almost like a strangely like contemplative expression. Like he was very surprised that you said that. And he looks legitimately surprised. Anyway, that's the response you get from it.
Okay. In that
All
case, I'm keeping on running. I have definitely clocked where the salamander is, and I know where my friends are. And as long as he doesn't make a move in that direction, I'm going to kind of let him be dealt with by these other people.
So now we come to Sumi, and Sumi basically looks at you and Afi. She walks up to you and she says, "Do you understand who these people are?"
No, they're just dangerous people, and I don't want to die.
They're fundamentalists. They will kill all of us. They don't care. And then you hear her, Carlo, say, "They do care. They just don't want invaders invading us. Mom, you don't understand." And then she'll turn around and she'll be like, "Carlo, be quiet. You don't understand." Like you hear this go on in front of you. And then she would be like, "Where's Benji?" And she turns around and looks around. But no one knows where Benji is because he went through the curtain into the other tent. Okay, anyway, that's her turn. Then we go to Dr. Morgan. She's going to kind of say, "I think you should all try to stay quiet. We should try to stay as quiet as possible." Which, enough, you see Suni and Carlo very, aggressively ignore. And then the salamander. Salamander actually charges over here. You see the salamander kind of come up on this little ridge and rise. You're actually right here. And the salamander comes up, points the spear, and kind of shouts, "Be damned, raiders!" And then you see this kind of flash erupt from the spear. You see this bolt of energy fly out at Almara. Gotta see. Okay. Gotta check something here real quick. Okay. Now, Rise, you see this plain as day. Like, Almara has just gotten on his horse and just started riding, and then Salamander came up over the top of the thing and fired. You see this yellowish white bolt of what looks like kind of like it's just like a beam of light. There's a little bit of flame in it, and it hits Almara, and it knocks him off the back of the horse, and he slams into the sand. And
I think he needs like riding lessons.
Maybe. And you see Almara like hit the ground, and you see the horse rear up, surprised that this happened, and that's the Salamander's turn. And now we're going to go to Rise's turn. It's your turn, Craig. Oh, is Craig here? Oh, yeah, he's here. Okay. I just can't hear you. If you're talking, Craig, I cannot hear you. You might be muted or something. Oh, I still can't hear you.
Yeah.
Can you
Nothing
guys
coming through, mate? Oh, there's a message in Discord.
Uh-oh. I don't see it.
No.
Well, that would be the bottom of the initiative. Let's take a quick little 3-minute break. I'm going to use the restroom real quick. And then Rise, we can't hear you. I think you might be having a technical.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, now I can hear you. Yes.
Yeah, cool. Switch to a different mic.
All right. So I saw you move, but what is your action?
Yeah, so do you want to just take that break now?
Yeah, well, let's take your action quick first because you're basically at the end of initiative, and we'll finish.
Yeah. No, what I was saying is I had that previous go that was delayed till after Endel, and I didn't take that one.
Oh no,
My
that's
action
right.
was delayed this round.
No,
Yeah,
it was
so
delayed.
I got 2.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. We
Um,
didn't stop when we got to Endel. Was it because of your mic? I didn't hear you say anything.
I didn't realize you couldn't hear me, and
I'm
and as well
sorry.
because it was the people in the tent, it didn't really affect what was going on with me. So
Then you should take 2 actions.
yeah.
2 actions.
Okay.
18 minutes.
Yeah, cool. And I'd probably have a nip at the horse then. Yeah, let's do that. He just got attacked. I'm
Roll
going to take an attack on that horse. Yeah, 19 to hit.
That will hit. Roll damage. So the horse was rearing up already from the shot from the salamander, but you nip at it, hit it again.
Yeah. So then that's 6 plus 2. It's 8 damage and a strength saving throw again.
Gotcha. Okay. Strength saving throw. Is a strength, you say? No, it failed. It failed. For sure.
Cool. Yeah, it's prone again.
So it rears up and then it falls onto the ground.
It's not having a good day. And I'm going to disengage and then run behind here.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, that'll be me.
You can hear these riders just thundering forward.
Oof. Yeah, I'm gonna
both.
I'm gonna
Amara,
drop to my haunches and try to look as much like a dingo as I can.
Gotcha. Well, you still look completely like a dingo. Now, was that okay? So that was both of your turns. Is that right?
Well, I attacked and disengaged, so I'm happy with that being where we're at.
Do you get to disengage as a bonus action?
No.
Then you should get. So if attack is an action and then disengage is an action, but you only took 1 movement, I think. If you want, you would have more movement.
Yeah.
For sure.
I'm gonna stay there. Yeah.
Stay there.
And maybe try and hide. Yeah.
Roll a stealth check.
Cool. Let's do that. Hey, just taking advantage of my wolf not having negative stealth like the rest of me.
You are behind a rock.
So, yeah, 18.
18? Okay. No, you're hiding pretty good, actually. All right. I'm going to go use the restroom real quick. Let's take a quick 3-minute break, and I'll be right back.
Cool.
For those of you watching, brief intermission. We shall return presently.
Mm-hmm.
Good, you're working again.
Seen any moldy bread we can throw at him was?
So I'm basically thinking, oh, are you talking, Josh? Oh no, that's YouTube. I just sort of see what was going on there. Oh, 8 watching. Hello, everyone. Hope you're having fun there. So who is in the chat room there? Anyone? Don't be shy. Say hello.
I have returned.
Yeah, like, comment, subscribe, join the Discord, all the stuff.
Yeah. Sign up for the free stuff as well.
Heck yeah. And new stuff coming down the pipe. We're kind of restructuring, rebranding. It's going to be really good. Got lots of good
contest in a couple days.
Yeah.
Wait, what'd you say, John?
Starting a new contest in a couple of days.
Have you decided what it's going to be? I saw there was a lot of voting, I saw there was actually a lot of debate about this one.
It was weird. I'm like, everybody made all these suggestions. I was like, okay, cool, I'll put it in a poll. And then I put it in a poll and people were like, wow, about the results. I'm like, wow, we voted on it. Like,
I feel like that's kind of unusual. Usually people don't have too much to say, and this time they had everything to say about it.
That means they're passionate about something. I'd rather have that than people who just don't care.
I also heard someone say that a lot of people voted in this last one.
In the actual contest, yeah, I feel like all the voting rounds got above 20. I think.
Oh, that's awesome!
Like 23, and one of the rounds had 25.
I want to add to it. I want to vote, but I just feel like I should remain impartial, so I shouldn't vote.
Yeah, I feel like the vote of the GM philosopher is probably pretty potent.
I should remain impartial. However, the subclasses, I'm very excited to look at them, and I plan to use some of them in the Barren Lands.
Some of those classes. Yeah. I mean, like mine, the one I made was for Shadow Dark, so I don't expect that many people to actually use it. But a couple of people who said that they would. I'm excited to see how it goes.
Heck yeah.
But yeah, the Rhythm Mancer, when I read through that, I was like, this is pretty neat. Kind of cool. That like a different sort of take on a bard kind of character.
Heck yeah.
I think Homebrew. A lot of cool ideas in there.
Yeah, Homebrew is fun. Heck yeah. All right. So we finished with Rise. Akka's just hold his turn back to Inafi. It's Inafi's turn. You hear the thundering of hooves are coming closer.
So he's just trying to keep everyone calm and quiet. And he actually reaches out to his familiar Ron and says, "I've lost the boy. Find the boy." So Ron leaves Endel's side and runs down and starts running around the outside of the tents looking for the boy.
Okay. All right.
And that would be everything I can do for now.
Would you
he
like
he may message, he'll probably message Endel as well and say the boy's gone missing. Keep an eye out.
Is that as far as Ron would have been able to make it to that space right there?
Yeah, somewhere down there.
Okay. All right. Very good. Yeah. Okay. So then we go to Stan is not here. Almara stands up and leaps onto his horse, who also stands up. That's going to take up the predominant portion of their turn. They're going to kind of rear up, and then you see Almara raise his raise his scimitar to the sky, and he's going to shout out, "For the sun in the sky, give us guidance. Strike this evildoer." And then, my dice roller is working out. Okay, I'll roll analog. Uh-oh. You would see this suddenly, this fiery flame appear in the sky and then shoot down at the salamander.
Oh,
And he's able to kind of dodges on the ground and rolls away, barely misses it. Looks like a sacred flame kind of. And then the horse rears up again, and you see them ride toward the salamander, actually. And they ride over there. And then some of his riders fall. They kind of start to break apart.
oh.
Uh-oh. They start to come in and kind of surround him. That's where they are right now. And then the rest of them continue onward. 5, 10, 15. They ride around that rock and stuff, and they seem to not even notice you rise. They just ride right around you. All right, it is now Endel's turn. Endel, you hear the sounds of combat. Spells are being cast. You know, you see these riders circling the salamander. You see these other riders riding right for these tents.
I'm going to come right up to this corner here of the tent where I see the symbol, and Inafi having told me that that is where they are all at, and I'm going to kind of stand there at that corner, weapons at the ready, just making sure nobody messes with that tent.
Gotcha. Okay. When you say weapons at the ready, are you going to hold your action?
Yeah, I would hold an attack for anybody who seems to be approaching aggressively.
Okay.
Right now, definitely that I see where the salamander is. I'm definitely trying to watch him, but I don't like Astan either. I don't really view Astan as much of a physical threat, but I'm not sure if he knows any magic or anything. So I'm trying to trying to keep an eye out of the corner of my eye, but mostly clocking that salamander, make sure he doesn't get out of hand.
Yeah.
But I don't really know these riders either, so if any of them makes any aggressive movements, I'm going to take action.
Now, at this
Can you see
point,
me?
you actually see what looks like a guard coming from the north side of the thing, and he's just running. And he has he actually has like a spear, and he's got like leather armor on. He seems to be from the caravan. He's running this way. And he just ends up right there. He's just a humanoid guard, slightly dark skin, leather armor, carrying a spear, has a knife on his belt, wearing sandals, does not seem to be super well equipped, and very old, probably 70 years old. I'm going to add him to initiative. He just seems to be the only one from the caravan who is... the only one from the caravan who's coming to Astan's call for action. Anyway, all right. With that being said, we move to Sumi. Now, inside the tent, Endel, you're close enough now, you hear this. Sumi and Carlo are arguing. Sumi looks at you, Inafi, and says, You have to take that symbol down.
What?
This is bad. This is bad. No, you're going to get their attention. You're going to get their attention. We just have to hide. Hide.
We are hiding. This is what I'm doing.
The symbol's
We're making the tent invisible by making it a symbol of the burning eye.
She just like clenches her fist. No, it's not. And then Carlo says, don't listen to her. They're going to spare us because of this. And then Sumi just
What do you mean it's not? Have I put up the wrong symbol?
Carlo's like,
Tell
no.
me now.
And then Sumi says, you shouldn't have put up any symbol. We should have hidden beneath the bed. These people are savages.
We'll wait and see. I have trust in my party.
And then we go to Dr. Morgan. She's just holding her turn. Salamander's turn now. So he actually stands up, and he's got his spear, but he sees he's being surrounded by riders. And you kind of hear him shout out, you're not going to be able to stop me. And then he attacks one of the riders with a spear. My dice rollers. It's been malfunctioning. That's okay. Oh, he actually hits this one. Okay. He hits this one with his spear. He kind of like stabs him in the leg. That's his only movement right now. His only action. The only thing he does. It is now this guard's turn. He comes running up. Estan, where are you? I heard your call to action. Where are you, Estan? And then he looks with wide, slack-jawed amazement at all the riders who are coming in. And that's his turn. It is now Rise's turn.
Cool. I'm going to see if I can get inside this tent. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30.
So you can
Get there.
totally slip under the corner of the tent, and the riders pay
Cool.
no mind to you. Seems
Yeah.
like a dingo wolf. They just have absolutely, you're completely off their radar.
Cool. I am going to use my bonus action to revert back to Reese. And I am going to lift up this corner of or lift up the canvas somewhere around here. Oh, I'm not marking that, am I? Hey,
As-
somewhere around here.
As
Yeah.
soon as you enter that tent and you have a minute to look at your surroundings, you see a little boy cowering in the corner, and you recognize him as being Benji.
Yeah.
And you see that he has a knife, and it looks like a cutlery knife, like a knife you cut steak with, not like a dagger, but like a.
Oh,
like
okay.
and he's hiding in the corner. You see him just like shaking in absolute terror, and he's like just crouched down in the corner behind like a tea cart.
Mm.
And when he sees you transform into a human, he like he just literally lets out like a weak shriek and just retreats even further into the corner, and he drops the knife and just clutches his hands around his chest.
Ooh, okay.
He just looks terrified.
Should stay very quiet. They're just outside. I'm gonna try and calm him, but I'm also gonna try and figure out. I don't know if I can do it this turn, but what I want to do is
Go ahead. Yeah.
is use my cantrip to dig a pit underneath the canvas,
Okay.
and then like hide the kids under there.
Which
yeah, but I-
is it the move
Pardon?
or whatever?
Yeah. I was thinking if I could maybe,
Okay, so
but
yeah,
I probably need a full turn to do that. So I figure, I'll get in the tent for now, and then
roll a
suss it out.
persuasion check with what you tell him when you tell him not to worry.
Okay. Oh, not too bad. 14.
So whenever you say this, he quickly stands up and he runs over to you. And he just like runs over to you and throws his arms around, like he literally leaps over to you and wraps his arms around you. And he's like, "Help! Help! Help! They're coming to get us! They're coming to get us!" Like he's just like, and then he like buries his face in your chest, and then he would say, "My father's coming to get us." Like, he's just like crying.
I'm not sure how seriously I would take him saying the father thing. So I would just kind of, I'd pat him on the back of the head and just try and quiet him with my hugs rather than talking too much, because I'm very conscious that there's just a fabric wall separating us from the riders right now. So I'm just going to quiet him, and I'm not going to ask him about the father because that doesn't make any sense to me. I'm not sure why the father would be there. Cool. Yeah, I'll end my turn doing that, just comforting him and check, and then with the plan to check out the campus and try and make a hole.
Gotcha. All right. Is that going to be the end of your turn?
Yeah, let's be done.
All right. We go back to Anafi.
So Anafi's just in there, and Ron, well, basically it'll just be Ron this turn. He'll come running around and pop in underneath the tent where Rice went in.
Can you hear through Ron's ears as well?
I do not know, to tell you the truth. I'd have to
If you
check.
can see through his eyes, I would imagine you could hear through his ears, I would imagine.
Yeah.
I'll look it up because I didn't know that as well. I just don't know.
Well, let's just assume that you can. Because,
Unless you can telekinetically
yeah. Let's-
communicate anyway.
You would have heard all
I didn't-
that. You would have heard all that.
Yeah. So Ron comes into the tent and immediately goes up to Benji and starts like jumping into Benji's arms and nuzzling into him and cuddling him, just trying to get the kid to calm down a bit.
The kid looks at the weasel, and you see a look of curiosity on his face. He's like, oh. like he did not, like it's something he did not expect, but it is a pleasant distraction. Is kind of the vibe you get.
Yeah, and then in the kid's mind, Anafi messages him, "It's all right. These are my friends. You'll be safe. Stay close to them. Make no sound."
He's going to just grab the weasel and huddle up close to Rise. And Rise, you get the sense that he becomes a bit calmer suddenly. When you see this weasel randomly jump in his arms, and he seems to look a bit calmer. Like he kind of looks in the air as if maybe he's hearing something that you don't hear. He kind of huddles up next to you. And he seems a bit, he really seems freaked out, but this seems to have calmed him down a bit. All right. Inafi is at the end of your turn.
Yep.
All right. We go to Astan. Astan is not in sight. Almara. Actually, Endel at this point is the only one who sees what's going on. You see Almara ride past the salamander, swinging his scimitar. You see a swipe. You see blood sling as he slashes the salamander across the chest, and then he would shout, "Bind him!" And you see the other riders pull out ropes and just like start to like basically rope the salamander.
Yeah.
And they manage it successfully. One of them gets a rope around him, and then another one gets a rope around him, and they jump off their horses and they actually subdue him and like slam him on the ground. And for a moment, this seems to this seems to be taking up the attention of these riders at the moment, and that leads us to Endel's turn.
All right.
Now these other riders, you see they're riding forward on after your turn. They're going to get a turn, but you can either hold your turn or you can take your turn now.
I'm going to kind of do a quick scan. Does anybody look to be entering the tent or making any sort of aggressive movement on this tent?
Actually, they all seem to be riding toward you. They seem to be curving and riding toward the front of the tent where you are. They like you see all their horses turn and they're all riding straight for you.
Well, this could be fun. I'm just going to ready a stance, and if any of them attacks me, I will attack back.
All right. So
So I guess I'll hold an attack.
they come riding up. It's their turn next. And they all, I mean, there's horses thundering forward, and then suddenly, they all slam to a halt, their horses' hooves, kicking up sand as they stop right in front of you. And then this leader one here, this one right here, he's seems to be a relatively rugged fellow with a large black beard. He's got like a head covering on. He's got a scimitar in hand, riding a large black horse. And he kind of stops and he shouts, "Do you represent that symbol? Did you put that symbol on the tent?"
I'll answer. My friend did.
He's going to dismount from his horse.
We wanted you to know that there were innocents inside.
He's going to kind of walk up to you. Now, as this is going on, you're going to see that the salamander, you see that the rest of them are kind of dragging him this way. Like literally dragging him through the sand. He's like kind of as they're dragging him through the sand towards you. Now, at this point, we're actually out of combat. So anyone can do whatever you would like. We're kind of back in role play. It seems that these attackers have halted the assault in the sense of like a combat thing. It seems like they're holding off making any more movements. This guy kind of calls back to Amara. "There's one here who claims that his friend is of our religion. Claims that his friend is of the Burning Eye." And this seems to get Amara's attention, and he dismounts from his horse. And he comes walking over. Seems a bit more clear visioned now than he was a couple of moments ago. He walks up and he's like, looks up at the symbol, and then he looks at you, Endel. And Afi, you hear all this going on right outside. It's right outside the tent. He would walk up to you and he would say, "What is the meaning of this? What is this?" And he kind of points up at the symbol, and he points at you, and he's like, "Are you one of us? Is that what this is?"
This is a cry for reason. Terrible things have been done in the name of gods throughout history. Did not wish that to happen here today.
He says, "You have not answered my question." He kind of looks a little angry.
Whether
You
he's
guys
in faith or not, I don't know. He put the symbol there so that you would not shed innocent blood.
He says, "I should not shed any innocent blood, but blood money flows into Sahuret from the west. Blood that will kill, blood that will maim, blood that will sap the life out of those who are striving to live righteously. I just need to know if you are one of them or if you are one of us."
Not everything is so black and white.
Well, roll a persuasion check.
I don't think I have a modifier. Okay. Here we go. 16.
He's going to kind of raise an eyebrow. He's going to kind of walk around you, and he's going to say, You are a strange man. You claim to come from another world, and yet you would oppose me, king of this domain. And he kind of like raises his arms. What makes you so bold? You are outnumbered. You are out-weaponed. Our God is not on your side, at least not that I can tell. What gives you such boldness that you would stand up to me? We come doing righteous work, and you strike me as a man of principle, and yet you stand in the way of righteousness. How can this be?
I'm going to look up at him, and I'm going to say, Rainy, Sissy, Nani, Ayer, Ajax. Those are my children. I am not there with them, and I hope that if something similar were happening in my home, somebody would stand in my stead. Here there are innocent lives with no father to stand up for them, and I will do that for them. They have done no wrong.
Can I cast Enlarge on Endel?
Yeah, absolutely. Does it have a range?
Okay.
Or is it a touch spell?
I think it's 30. Let me check. 30.
Heck yeah.
Cool.
Good.
So
And,
as you're tearing is as you're yelling at this guy, you'll start growing.
and
Uh-oh.
I'm going to kind of continue a little bit, and I'm going to say, I'm not a religious man, but I do know righteousness does not spill innocent blood. Righteousness considers all life to be valuable. If you must wage your war for whatever reasons, I will not stand in your way. But the minute, the moment, the very instant you reach out to strike against a child, I will not stand idly by. Though it be my death, I will not watch that happen. You must reconsider. You must clear your gaze if you are to call yourself a righteous man. You must live in the paths of righteousness. Where I stand might not be black and white, but that is. Remember that, prophet of Ra'aman. And I'm just going to stare at him.
Nice.
Nafi will turn to Sumi and Carlo and say, Elmara, is that your father/husband?
Sumi's going to say no, but he serves the Burning Eye. And then Carla would try to run outside, unless someone's going to try to stop her.
Aka, stop her.
Okay, so it's going to be him. Oh, my dice roll isn't working. It's going to be his. He's going to roll versus her dexterity. Okay, he got a 14. She got a. Oh, he actually does grab her. He kind of grabs her. She's like, "No, stop! Help!" She kind of yells, and then Endel from outside the tent, you hear this "help" come from inside the tent, and then Bard just kind of looks over, a cigarette hanging out of his mouth.
I'm going to look back and say, what do you need, child?
Well, you haven't seen her quite yet. She got stopped before she left.
Well, just when I hear that, I'm just going to bark over my shoulder.
I want to come outside. That's what she said.
Carefully.
Aka looks at you and Afi like, what should I do? Let her go out there to get killed?
It's all right. It's all right. Endel's there. He'll look after her.
Okay. So she comes running out there, like stumbling out, through the tent flaps. This little.
I kind of motion with my hand, still holding my scimitar, but kind of motion, stay there.
So even though you motion that, she like comes right up to Amara, and then you see her fall down on her knees, and you see her like draw this sun with an eye in the middle, and then she would kind of stand up on her knees, and she would say, "I serve Ra-Aman. I serve the burning eye." She's like, "I choose the way of the serpent, like my father." And then he just kind of turns toward her. Endel, you see his gaze shift from you to this girl. He like takes a drag off his cigarette. And then he would kind of take a step forward toward her, like right up to her. And then he would say, "Do you know what it is you say, child? Pledging your faith to Ra-Aman is one thing. The way of the serpent is another. The way of Ra-Aman is to live in peace and order. The way of the serpent is to kill. It is venom. It is what we use to defend our land. Do you truly wish this? I do not believe you do." Now, Endel, you're seeing all this, and Anafi, you're hearing all this. Do either of you want to do anything while this is happening?
When I hear him say that, and I would say, "What would your father want, child?" Those who live by the sword most usually die by it. I believe your father wants prosperity for you.
You would see this look of just defiance across her face, and she said, "My father would choose venom."
For himself, yes. But for you. Your father fights so that you can live in peace.
She says, "You don't know my father." She would like quit.
I probably know him better than you think.
And at this point, Amara would turn toward you, Endel, and he would say, "What do you think I should do?" She not only claims Ra-Aman, but she claims our... He kind of like puts his hands up. He says, "She wishes to join us in our crusade. What would you have me do?" He says, "Is it not just to give the girl what she wants? Glory, justice, retribution."
It is just.
At this point, Anafi walks out of the tent. His hands glowing. He's still got his magic missile ready.
Yeah.
And he says, "No, we should educate her. We should bring her up with peace in her heart. Not venom.
He's going to look
Venom
at
doesn't
you.
solve everything."
"And who are you?"
Well, I am knowledge. I am the example of
Are
what
you a
you can
magic
become.
Are you a man of magic? Do you cast magic with your hands from books?
From books, from memory. In the sky, and he waves, and the symbol disappears.
He kind of looks up. He looks down. He kind of narrows his eyes. He kind of walks past the girl. He kind of pats her on the head in a gentle fashion. She looks a little annoyed that people are intervening. And then he would kind of walk up to you, Anafi, and he actually turns his back completely to you, Endel. Like, just, I mean, you as a combatant would know the way he's turning his back on you would suggest that either he's completely careless or he completely trusts you. Because actually, in this very moment, this instant, with your class, your abilities, you could coup de grace him if you wanted to. You could totally backstab him and kill him. He is so willingly turning his back to you. And he would say to Anafi, which I should actually ask Endel, do you want, is that something you want to do?
No, I'm going to let Anafi speak his piece, and then I'm going to address the child directly.
Okay. So he's going to say to you, Anafi, he's going to say, and where do you come from? North, south, east, west? I can tell you right now you are not from Sahuret. I can tell by your accent. You do not come from these lands. You were not born in the sands.
No, that's pretty obvious, isn't it? He's trying to brush sand off himself. No, the sands don't agree with me. I much prefer books and libraries and nice reading nooks. I'd much rather that.
So do you come from the city?
I come from a city. I don't know if you know it. It's called Greyhawk. It
I do
is
not
the
know this.
largest city in the world.
To my knowledge, the largest city in the world is Zasith Kahet. It is to the north. Is that where you come from? Is there another name for the city Greyhawk?
No. We were magicked here, teleported, plane shifted even. We're not quite sure where here is in relation to where here was.
So what are you doing with this caravan of?
Finding civilization so we can get some answers. I want to find a library. I want to find someone learned. And I want to find some books so I can see what these symbols are that we've been seeing. And work out how to get home.
Roll a quick persuasion check as you say that. And then Sumi is going to come running out of the tent. And she's going to try to grab Carlo and say, Carlo, stop! Get back in the tent. And she's going to try to go, and Carlo's going to try to bat her hands away, and they get into a little tussle. And then you see Almara say, whoa. He takes a cigarette out of his mouth. What is going on? What is this?
14.
So he looks over at you, Anafi. And then you kind of see him look at you with a strange look. And then he looks over at Sumi and Carlo, and he actually raises his scimitar at them. And he says, on the ground. He just barks this order. Now, does anyone want to do anything at this point?
I'm gonna step over to where I was, where I moved myself on the map, kind of I'm gonna I might regret this. I'm gonna drop my weapons.
Okay.
I'm gonna reach out to Sumi, almost just to put my hand on her shoulder, just kind of hold her at bay from the child.
She's like, no, you cannot allow this. You can't allow this.
Wait.
She's gonna start getting hysterical.
Wait. Allow me a moment. I'm gonna look up at what's his face? Almara. And I'm gonna say I'm not really gonna say anything. I'm just gonna look at him let me say something. And I'm actually gonna I don't know if I'm still enlarged, but I'm gonna
yeah. I mean, unless you just don't want to be, but I don't even Rise, would he have a choice, or is he still enlarged?
It's a minute, so it's probably getting to where it's going to go down anyway.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
a minute.
I'm not necessarily trying to fight it. I just want to get on eye level with her, but I'm only
Yeah.
I'm 3'11", so if I kneel, I'm
I
not
feel like at this point, maybe it's going down, so you could shrink
Okay.
down.
Yeah.
So, okay, just allow it to shrink down, and as I get eye level with her, I'm going to say, child, Carlo, your father may not be here right now, but please listen to the words of a father. You have great, great passion. I pray to whatever God you serve, this Rahman, that you never lose that passion. But passion turned to hatred is, as this man says, poison.
And then you hear him whisper behind you, the serpent.
Serpent.
And he doesn't say it in a way that contradicts you. It's almost like he says it in a way that's supporting what you're saying, actually. You would notice.
When you turn passion to poison, it poisons not only those you turn it against, but it turns it against you. I do not know your father. You speak truth. But I know the heart of a father. Any father would not want you to accept that poison into yourself. He would want you to take that passion and turn it into a peaceful and prosperous future. I hope that that future comes soon. I hope that whatever war is tearing this land apart, that it comes to its rightful conclusion. And I pray that righteousness reigns in the end. But your passion, your heart, your drive will be that which shines as a beacon, or it will be that which destroys you and everyone around you. Use your passion wisely. Use this moment wisely.
You should get an inspiration for that speech.
Ooh, yay. And then I will just say, your fate, and possibly the fate of this entire land, rests on your ability to take that passion and choose love instead of hate.
So you should roll a persuasion check, and you should roll it. Okay, so this is actually very important.
Okay.
Your speech was so good that you would get advantage. However, you're fighting against some pretty serious background that you're unaware of, so that would give you disadvantage, which right now makes it an even persuasion check, unless you wish to apply anything else to it.
I will apply that inspiration you just gave me.
Then you will get advantage.
Could an Afi provide advantage by using a minor illusion and using an image and providing an image just sort of floating there of a father and a daughter embracing in love.
Interesting. Okay. In that case, then you should roll with advantage, and you're going to add a +4 in addition to whatever other bonuses you would get.
Okay. Right before I roll, I would just say, your father chose the venom.
What is her name again? I'm trying to say
Carlo.
Carlo, that's right.
And I'm going to just once more, maybe a slight tear in his eye. He's going to say, Carlo, your father chose the venom because he loves you. Not because he wants you to accept it as well, but so that you wouldn't have to. And now I will, okay, so advantage +4. 16.
That's with advantage and a +4 in addition to your other rolls?
Yeah, so that's with my advantage. I got a 12 and then +4 on top of that. I have a flat persuasion.
All right. I'm going to roll here, and this is going to be the big kicker because I got to roll versus it. Okay, here we go. So she would look up at you. And here's a portrait of her. This is maybe slightly, this looks a little bit older, but that's kind of basically her look. Just to give you reference. And then you see her demeanor kind of weaken a bit, and then she would, like, the stiffness and the anger and the the aggression she was showing kind kind of like wilts away, and then she just kind of like slumps down. And then you hear some soft sobs. She would say, there's just no hope for anything better without his help. And then she would kind of fall into her mom's arms, and her mom would just like hold her.
As long as there's love, there's hope, child.
Nafi will slightly adjust the image and move it so it just becomes like a beating cartoon heart type shape, and place it over the two of them embracing.
As long as there's love, there's hope, child. As long as there's people willing to sacrifice out of love so that you don't have to, there is always hope.
Now, at this point, Almara would turn, and he would actually walk away, like this way, and then he would kind of turn back to Anafi and Endel, and he would say, you, follow me. We must talk. And he would kind of just walk over here.
I'm gonna, as I rise from my kneeling position, I'm gonna pick up my dagger and scimitar and sheath them. And put my hand on Carla's shoulder for just a minute and just say, remember love, child.
She just is kind of like quietly sobbing and holding her mother. And her mother looks up at you, and the mother has this look of just terror on her face. And she glances over at Almara and then back at you. You can tell that the mother is convinced that disaster is still on the horizon, seemingly, is what it seems like the mother thinks. But the little girl seems to be like, she seems to be like letting out a lot of obviously pent up emotion, and she's not paying attention to anything. She's just hugging her mom and crying.
As he's walking over, a eagle is circling and starts getting lower, and it's like a blue eagle. It's like not of physical form. And it's going to come down and land on the tent, and it is going to enhance the ability. So it's a enhance ability spell, and I cast it by plucking a bit of fur out of Ron and using that to cast it. And now and now the Endel will have advantage on intelligence check. Advantage on charisma checks.
Okay, very good. Now, as this is happening, Rise, you see the little boy, and he just like looks up at you. You guys heard all this. I mean, you guys are just like 2 cloth walls away. Like, you heard all of this. And he would look up at you, and he would like look down at the knife he dropped, and he would like pick it up, and he would say, "We have to kill him."
I hope there's a way out of this without violence.
He's like, "No, you don't understand. These burning eyes, they're bad. They turned my father against my mom. We have to kill him. We have to kill him now." And then he turns around and starts to head toward the door of the. You can grab him. Okay. Yeah. He's pretty easy to grab. You're like, let me go. Let me go. Kind of yell. Like not like super loud, but I'm gonna roll to see if Endel and
Anafi would hear that conversation.
Oh, that's right. No, you're right there, literally.
Ron's there.
Endel, you should roll a perception check. If you make at least an 11, you heard this little yell. Like, Let me go.
Yeah, 14.
You definitely heard it. You're not sure if Almari heard it or not. He doesn't look like
He seems pretty baked anyway. So
he seems very
Yeah.
he seems really baked, yes. Seems like he's done some kind of hallucinogens in preparation for this raid, blood to sand to sun raid.
Yeah.
Now, Inafi, are you moving over there with Endel to talk to Almari?
Yeah, I was still debating that in my mind, but at this stage, Anafi would turn to Sumi and I've lost the name. Starts with C.
Carlo.
Carlo, and say quietly and gently, "Why don't you go back inside in the comfort of the tent for now?
She just kind of nods.
Stay close to the professor and our big friend Arca."
They very quickly go back in there. Very quickly.
And then he'll walk up.
All right, now
Yeah,
this is gonna
Yeah.
be our
I kinda-
final scene of the night. We're coming up on. Well, we're already a little past 10, so we're gonna come up on the final scene. One last conversation here, and then we're gonna end it. Now, what were you gonna say, Endel?
Oh, I was just gonna say, I almost like his mindset is that of like he feels like there's some sort of a mutual respect at this point, even if we're not quite seeing eye to eye on everything. And I kind of want to know more about his story. And I feel like even if he's under some sort of influence, like that moment hopefully just triggered something in him. So
Gotcha. Okay. So as you approach, he kind of walks away from you, puts his hands on his hips, and he just kind of looks out over the dunes, again, turning his back to you, Endel, in a way that, I mean, if you were to want to take advantage of it as a combatant, you could do so. Do you wish to do so?
no, I'm
Okay.
just going to kind of approach him as he's kind of looking out and say, "What is it you want?"
He's going to turn around and he's going to say, "I want justice and freedom for Sahuret. And yet, when I come to raid this caravan, which is obviously corrupt, you, he points to Inafi, stand in my way. And this gets my attention greatly. Because I do not
Inafi.
believe you are friends of the wretched man who runs this caravan."
Is he the corruption you're talking about?
Yes.
Oh, well, that's easy. He's in that tent over there. Go and get him. Leave us in peace.
I will. I do not wish to leave you in peace. I wish to ask you why. Why are you with this caravan? Why do you stand in my way? Why?
It is the first caravan we came across. But there's no further explanation.
No, I do not understand. You've said things like you come from the sky, blah, blah, blah. But what is the truth? What are you doing here? I do not believe that you support this man. He points toward the tent where the guy's obviously hiding. He's like, I do not believe you support him. There is obviously more at stake here for you than dirty gold from the West.
No, we have no desire for dirty gold. We did come from the sky. We don't know how to explain where we came from. We came here against our will. We are with this caravan because it was the first hint of any sort of civilization that we could find. We seek answers. And why we stood in your way is exactly what I just said, because of love. And because if you don't let love back in your heart, then your quest is no longer righteous. I wish to see the freedom of every land as well, but not gained at the expense of innocent lives. You turn your sword against those who have done wrong, you have my leave. You turn it against the innocents, you have my wrath.
Now, at this point, Endel would get a persuasion check with advantage because of Rise's spell.
Oh, goody. 18.
So he's going to kind of look down, and you kind of see him look down. He kind of kicks at the sand as if thinking hard. You see him wrestling with himself, just like he's silent for a moment. And then he would look up and he would say, "You say you came from the sky. This sounds nonsensical to me. But you are a man of honor. And you," he points toward Inafi. He says, "You are obviously allied with him and you seem to be a man of knowledge. Neither of which anyone else in this caravan probably possesses, aside from some of the servants. So, here's the deal.
Tell me, I have a question for you, Elmara. This corruption,
pauses.
is it what I think it is? Is this a slave caravan? Is this a slave trader's caravan?"
He says, "This is a slave trader's caravan. But even worse than that, it is an exploitation of the people of Sahuret, the sovereign people of Sahuret, who have lived in the land of the oldest gods, the first lands of Regenesis. This is not just Sahuret. This is the birthplace of civilization. And these people deserve better than to slave for wages that come from the blood gods of the East, or the West, or the North, or the South. We serve the gods of Sahuret, the sovereign, the righteous. And the worst god of them all comes from the West. The great red flame shall not encompass Sahuret. I refuse."
You speak with great
Comes from the
passion.
south. Was that south or west that the red flame came from?
This is the West.
You speak with the same passion of that child. You heard my lecture. Think to the words of your own father. Think to your mother.
He says, "Sometimes the snake is what we must become to save what is innocent, even if it means we must draw blood."
Blood must be drawn. This happens when people fall, when people follow something that is not righteous. Those who are righteous must stand in the gap. But if you lose sight of love the way that child did, it will be a lot harder for you to come back than it will be for her. Remember love, prophet, or you are not a righteous man. Remember the love of your land, remember the love of your people, and even your gods.
And then he will say, "You dare to chastise me?" And then he'll throw his scimitar on the ground. And then you see him tear his clothes. He literally tears his robe, revealing a big tattoo of a sun on his chest with an eye in the middle.
I have studied history my entire life. Never has somebody who refused to listen and learn from the past have they succeeded. You must learn from the past and make a better future. You must become the snake, become the snake. I will not stand in your way. But you must be a beacon of hope. Not a symbol of terror, not a symbol of rage and fury and horror as you've become to that woman inside that tent.
He's going to turn around and he's going to start pacing back and forth in an angry fashion.
And I don't care whose prophet you are, I will lecture anybody who chooses rage and terror over righteousness. You call yourself a righteous man, then be a righteous man. Prove your righteousness.
He's going to stop and then he's going to say, "Okay, I will make a deal with you. And with you," he points at Endel and Anafi. He's going to say, "I will spare who you point to me to spare here. If you and you will come with me And you will come speak to our high priest and put an end to this mystery. You say you came from the sky. I do not know what this means. Let him put an end to the mystery for me. If you wish to go, you can go. But come with me there. It is a
Who
journey
is
of...
this high priest?
He says, the high priest of the... The high priest of the... Hold on, I have to consult my notes real quick. The high priest...
My experience of priests is
of the burning eye. The high priest of the most holy place of Ra-Aman. Our headquarters is his temple. We dwell there. It is a 60-mile journey northward. You come with us. We will take any you wish to spare. You let us put the rest to the sword or to acceptance. We take their riches. We end this travesty. And your wisdom prevails. He kind of points at Endel. Do we have a deal?
You return the gold to the rightful owners?
No. The gold will go to the burning eye. There are no rightful owners. It came from the west. It is blood gold. Blood gold spilled into our land. Blood gold that we will return with blood when the time comes.
In battle for the freedom of your lands?
Yes.
You spare the lives of those enslaved against their will.
If you say so. If you agree to come with us. Because he kind of marches right up to you in Afi, like right up to both of you, and like points at both of you. He says, because there's something different about you. And I will get to the bottom of it. But I believe it is possible that you've been sent here for a purpose. I do not believe in accidents. We create our fate, or the gods create it. He says, to find two strangers here, guarding a caravan they do not work for, resisting a resistance they do not know about, in a world they do not seem to know about. This is strange to me. I wish to get to the bottom of it.
This is very strange to me as well.
So, do we have a deal? I will spare all you point to spare. And you come with us. But the gold, it must go to the burning eye. To fuel our fight against the great red flame to the west. Who will regret ever setting foot on Sahuret sand.
Can I kind of look at Anafi? Kind of shrug. What do you think, Master Digglewiggle?
Well, Amara, this high priest, this temple, there are other magic users like me. There are books.
Not like you. There are magic users, but they are not like you. Not from books. They've come from the spirit of Ra-Aman, holy men.
I really need people with books.
To find that, you must go even further north to Zahith Karet, the capital
in that
city
case,
of Sahuret.
If we're both going north, then let us go north. What do you think, Endel?
North it is. We'll go with you, Prophet.
Good. In that case, and then he would call out to his men, follow these men, spare all they point to, those they deem you permission, put to the choice or the sword, gather all riches, and then we return back home. You see all the men like rear up on their horses in like excitement. And then he would turn to the two of you and he says, I leave it to you then. Decide who lives and dies.
Well, obviously you can go and get that slaver in the front of the caravan there. But
He would kind of whip
I
his
want
arm.
I want 10 gold from that slaver captain. We paid him for passage. We have not moved.
He's going to
We want
kind of
that money
ask.
back.
He's going to kind of ask you quickly. Does he owe you a debt?
Well, we paid for passage. We have not moved. He owes us that money.
He says, very well.
And then he'll
shall be
walk
done.
over to the salamander, pull out the receipt that he's got, put it in the salamander's pocket, and count out the 8 coins that he gave you, or the 6 coins that he gave you, and walk away.
Now, before you walk away, he would come up to you and kind of put his hand on your shoulder as you walk away, and he would say, first, the salamander.
I'm
Spare
not
him?
pointing.
Spare
I'm
him?
not pointing.
No, he would ask you, spare him?
Anafi is saying, I am not pointing at this salamander.
He would kind of look back at you, Endel, and say, spare or put to the sword of the choice?
I'm gonna look over at the salamander and I'm gonna say,
He's like on the ground with ropes around him. They're like standing on him. His like face is looking up at you terrified. He's like, I'll do anything. I'll do anything. Spare me.
would you have done anything 30 minutes ago?
Yes, yes. I would have done anything. I wish to be good. I'll be your grateful servant.
And yet when you had a chance to be good, you drank wine and laughed at their plight.
It was only because I was a slave too.
Slave who took advantage of other slaves.
He's probably worse than a slave trader
Just-
then, isn't he?
Survival. And then you see Almara walk over and lift up his boot and puts it on the head of the salamander, like pushes it down. And he kind of turns and he's like, what will it be? He says, spare him, give him the choice.
Disarm him, disrobe him, and throw him out to the desert.
He claims he wants survival. Let us see if he can survive.
And then Almara puts up a hand. He's like, no, you misunderstand. The deal was, he says, you spare him or he gets the choice. So if you tell me spare him, I shall release him. And then he is your responsibility. If I give him the choice, it becomes my responsibility. What you do with him, if you spare him, is up to you, not to me. What will it be? And then you see the salamander like looking up at you with his eyes under the boot, like begging to.
Is there even the tiniest shred in his gaze of repentance?
Roll an insight check. Now, Rise,
Or like, is he repentant or is he just scared?
you should roll an insight check. That's actually a good question. Yeah.
Natural 20.
Oh, nat 20. The truth is, okay, you rolled a nat 20 and you look into his eyes and you see an opportunistic creature who's showing you what he thinks you want to see so that you'll spare him. It's there, you don't see an ounce of repentance in his eyes. Not true repentance.
I'm going to stare him in the eye. And I'm going to just barely above a whisper. You had the opportunity to make your choice.
I am choosing now. I'm sorry. I repent.
Now, when you have no choice, you had a choice to make a difference and you chose poorly. Now, the choice is his.
You see Almara kind of light up a cigarette.
Oh, no.
And he says, you heard the man. You accept Ra-Aman in grateful, litheful service. Or shall we return your blood to the sand? Pathetic creature. And do not lie to me. And then he points the scimitar down toward his neck and he says, because Ra-Aman knows a liar. And then the salamander says, I choose Ra-Aman. I repent. I choose Ra-Aman. And then you kind of see Almara kneel down, takes a drag, the cherry of a cigarette glowing red against the silhouette of the scene. And then he reaches down with a hand and puts it on the salamander's head, and he closes his eyes. And then he kind of opens his eyes about like 5 seconds later, and then he just like shakes his head and he says, your soul is unclean, creature. And then he would stand up and then just without a second hesitation, swing his scimitar. And unless anyone intervenes, does anyone wish to intervene?
Nope.
With a slice and a muffled shriek, the head of the salamander rolls across the sand and the body goes limp. And then Almara would put the bloody scimitar over his shoulder and walk past you and Afi, and he would say, he wasn't being entirely honest. I could tell.
That's fine.
And then we're going to switch to one last thing quick before we end it. Rise. You are in the tent. The boy is in there. You're holding on to him. He's like listening to everything that's going on. And he like looks up at you. And he would say, what are we going to do?
We're going to stay very quiet. That's all we need to do right now. And listen. Can you do that for me?
He's going to nod, and then he's going to say, but Ra-Aman is not going to forgive me. He's not good. Oh.
But you are.
Your sirens.
Yeah.
And then he's going to get down on the ground and he's going to carve out a symbol that kind of looks like, as you're looking at it, you're like, what is that? You know, and you're like a druid, so you know a lot about animals. And he seems to draw what looks like, if you're not mistaken, a crocodile. He draws a crocodile.
Ooh.
And then he would say, he is the real God. Shouldn't we be praying to him?
I'm going to kneel down beside him and look at the, examine the image. Yeah, just get a sense of whether it is an actual symbol or if it's a kid's drawing.
Roll a religion check.
Nat one.
Oh, and that one? Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. That's actually really interesting. Actually, that's very interesting. I need to roll something real quick. Oh, very interesting. Okay. So when you kneel down to this, are you gonna touch it or are you just gonna look at it?
Yeah, sure. I'd trace it.
So if you kind
Rub
of
my hands
start
over it.
tracing it, suddenly your mind, just like your eyes would just close and you would go to this other place, this vision. And this is where we're going to end it. This is going to be the final scene. There's this flash of this, what looks like this darkness with some kind of being. And then you see these flashes of light, and it's wearing kind of like a headdress that's a bit Egyptian-esque in style. But then you see that as the light shines, it like opens its jaws, and has a crocodile's head, and is holding this like scepter, and you see its eyes just like stare at you, and in this little vision, you almost feel like its gaze looks right into you. And suddenly there's this fear that comes into you, and there's just one thought. There's just one thought that permeates your mind. Now, this isn't your thought. This is a thought that like comes into you, and you can do with it what you want. But there's this only one thought. Ra-Aman is not the lawful god of Sahuret. It is Sobek. And don't you forget it. That's like the message that comes into, and you just get this is like you're threatened. I don't know if you give into it, but you're threatened to have this inner kind of fear well up inside you. A fear of crossing Sobek by worshiping Ra-Aman. And you think to yourself, oh my God, the kid is right. Like, I'm not saying that you believe this, but I'm saying this is a thought. The kid is right. Worshipping Ra-Aman is the most dangerous thing we could do because Sobek absolutely forbids it. And that's just something that comes into Rise's mind. And that is where we're going to leave it for session number 3. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. For those who watched the session, thank you so much. For the players, excellent job role-playing. Awesome session this time. We will convene at some point, probably in June, for session 4. And we will see you all then.
Yeah.
Bye all.
Bye, guys.